Hello, welcome to the Guided Trip Fly Fishing Podcast. We have been radio silent for just a little while. Apologize for that. We're trying to get back on track now and get some more podcasts out for you guys. On this episode of the podcast, Ryan McVeigh and I sit down and just kind of discuss what's happening in the Gunnison Valley, what the rivers are starting to look like, what we can look forward to for the year. And, we talk a little bit about fishing conditions and just BS a little bit. Hope you enjoy this podcast. As always, send us emails, send us anything on Instagram. Our email is theguidedtrip@gmail.com. Questions, comments, anything you guys want heard or discussed on the podcast, we can do that. So don't hesitate. Send it over. Thanks for listening, guys. This is The Guided Trip.
I mean, I could miss runoff. I wouldn't be upset about it.
No.
And I could miss spring. I love spring fishing.
We can get you
Taylor.
in the boat, though.
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
If you have knee surgery, we can definitely get you in the boat.
I mean, I could sit there and do very little anyways. I can drink beers.
Yeah,
with
I
a
went in
bum
the boat.
knee.
I had a bum knee and I had Lacey row me down the river.
I remember that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
I had pretty much made her row me down the river. I was like, I need this for my soul.
Please get me on the river.
I need to float the river right now. I'm hurting so bad.
Are those the igniter lenses?
I think so, yeah.
I love those lenses.
You can buy them.
I have them.
Oh. I got a brand new pair that I'm going to break out this guide season.
Are those the guides? Those aren't the guide's choice.
These are the high waters.
Okay.
Smith high waters.
See, they're too big for my face. I can't wear half of Smith's frames.
I love them.
I just look like an old dude with bifocals.
Dude, but some of them are too small and they don't cover like the sides or underneath.
Right.
And I need that coverage all around.
Right.
Just because it just beats you up.
Yeah, like the guide's choice completely does that for you.
The guide choice seems small on
really?
me. Yeah,
they give you that? I thought they're huge on me. I can't even wear them.
I love every now and then I'll put on the guide's choice and I love them. I'm like, holy shit, these are great. And I'll switch back and forth, depending. And they're both different lenses that I have in them, but I mean, I love them. I love them.
Yeah, they're good.
I have probably like 6 pairs of Smiths. 2 of them are broken. I need to send back.
Those igniters on the Taylor. I mean, I'm not messing around. I bet I see 30% more fish.
Oh, definitely.
And I mean, I love all the polarized lenses I have. I love my sun clouds.
Chromopop is key, though.
It really is.
I've worn those Costas. Remember I brought those Costas to Andros and I wore the Costas?
Were those the ones that Nick put on?
No, I gave him the guide's choice.
Yeah, because that was the igniter lens.
It might be the igniter.
I think it was. I'm positive it was.
It's a copper, though, I think.
No.
I gave him something with an igniter lens.
Yeah.
Because I wore the Costas. I was like, yeah, these aren't cutting it, man. Like, it's just not doing what needs to be done.
Was that blue mirror you had on those ones?
Yeah. Wasn't a fan.
I'm not a big fan of that lens. People rant and rave about it, but.
The copper, I like it's hard to tell, man. I'm not good at it. I can't be like, oh, it's cloudy. I need this lens. Right. I'm not sure what it is. But with the igniter and the Chromopop, you don't really have to worry about it at all.
No, exactly.
You just put them on and you're like, everything's gravy.
Right. I mean, do you have a go-to? My go-to lens is always just the brown polarized lens.
Yeah. I mean, it's simple. I think that's honestly what I have on that guide's choice. I think it's a copper. I think it's a copper mirrored Chromopop or some shit.
That's for highlight.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it works whenever.
Yeah. So for
the igniter in low light is pretty hard though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I wish Smith, if you're listening, Smith, could you please tell me what every single lens does
and I've
specifically?
tried looking it up.
You can't find it.
You can't find it.
No, I'm supposed to just know. I don't know. I'm not a lens expert.
It's hard, man.
I know like 5 lenses,
I think it's just trial and error, which sucks. It's
but I
like,
can't afford to trial and
I
error
know.
a bunch of lenses.
know.
And if I need lenses, I need them tomorrow.
That's the hard part.
Right. So I'm gonna get this lens, and I'm like, oh wait, this isn't what I wanted.
Cloudy days, those igniters are just not there, man.
No. Well, I don't know. They do work pretty well for some water.
Yeah, I could see it. I don't know. Like I said, I
cloudy
have no
day,
idea,
gin
man.
clear,
I'm
the
not
igniters work
I'm not a
pretty good.
sunglass expert, you know. Like,
No.
people show up with sunglasses. I'm like, here's this shitty pair I wore chainsawing one day.
Right.
You know, they're trash now.
Right.
Here you go. These were given to me.
I mean, we all know it's how you look in them,
Yeah,
anyways.
it's all about looks.
Yeah.
So I had a crazy day at Neversink.
Let me hear about
Tell
it.
you about this. Been fishing the last couple days, but I was like, all right, you know, everyone's been getting out a little bit earlier, and warmer weather and just cabin fever.
Exactly.
You know, everyone's trying to get out there and get after it. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna roll up to Neversink at like 9 a.m. this morning. So I roll up, and the parking lot is just packed. I'm like, what the hell? You know, what is this? I pull in, and I could see it. You know how you can see it from the road?
Absolutely.
Just when you're about to turn, you can kind of see how many cars are in there. I'm like, what the hell, man? Should I go somewhere else? I was like, screw it, I'm going to pull in. Like, I doubt these people are going where I'm going. Turns out it's a bunch of cops and federal agents.
Oh, they doing some training down there?
No. So I roll up and I pull like halfway down the little driveway. You know how it's a big circle? Like, it's basically a big cul-de-sac.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and you can turn around in there. And so I pull kind of halfway down the driveway, and there's all these cops running around. And there's, like I said, there's a federal agent, there's state troopers, there's undercover cops, there's all these people there. I'm like, what the hell is this? And, whoa, got a little loud there. I'm trying to adjust it a little bit.
Just get it just right.
A little touchy. So I kind of just stop, and this dude starts walking up to the car, and it says he's got a, you know, bulletproof vest on, a flak jacket on it. It
Right.
says police on it.
Right.
And this guy's definitely undercover. You know, he's wearing khakis and a button-up shirt, and for some reason he decided he needed to wear his flak jacket. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So I'm just stopped there, and he rolls up. And he goes, you okay? I was like, yeah, I was looking to go fish, you know? And he goes, yeah, I wouldn't do that. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, where are you looking at? You're welcome to go down below here, but I wouldn't go in on the trail. What are you talking about?
Which is obviously where you're
Yeah,
looking to
that's
go.
where I want to go,
Right.
you know? Like, that's exactly where I want to go. And so I go, well, what's the deal? You know, what's going on? He goes, well, there's a stolen car here, and we think that the suspects might have fled onto the trail. Okay. And he goes, maybe give us about 20, 30 minutes. Like, you're going to check the entire
You're not going to find that
woods
guy in 30
20,
minutes. Yeah.
30 minutes.
Never sinks
He's
fast.
like, how about you just go park over there for a minute and hold tight, and we'll let you know if it's clear.
What?
Yeah, I was like, what is this? And dude, there was 6, 7,
Right.
you know, agents. I don't know what you'd call them. Like, there was cops,
Yeah.
there was sheriffs,
Yeah.
there was
All the
state
authoritarian
troopers,
figures.
there was federal officers because it's federal land.
Right.
You know, there's 2 federal officers, and everyone's like running around like crazy.
With their dogs?
No, just running around. I mean, they were just running down the trail.
You sure it wasn't a training exercise?
No.
Huh.
So I'm standing there and I'm getting dressed. I'm putting my waders on. I'm like, okay, this is a little weird. And I called Jared and I'm like, yo, dude, you're not going to believe this, man. Like, I roll up to Neversink. There's all these cops and agents here and all this shit going on. And turns out there's a stolen vehicle and they think the suspects are in Neversink somewhere. And so I'm hanging out, putting my waders on. The undercover that I talked to before walks up and he's like, yeah, man, you know, I wouldn't walk the trail up, you know, where you want to go. He's like, you can go anywhere down that you want to go. I was like, well, I don't want to go down.
Right.
I want to go up. And he's like, well, yeah, give us just a minute, you know, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. You guys do your thing, you know, figure it out. I figured, you know, if this guy ditched a car or whatever, he's gone by now. You know, the
Right.
suspect or whoever they're looking for or whatever people are gone.
Right.
And so I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I'm definitely bringing my pistol today when I go hike the trail, you know. But I'm on the phone with Jared, and I'm like, dude, I'm going to be out there fishing. I'm going to apprehend the suspect, man. Like, I'm going to get out there fishing. There's going to be some jabroni walking the river, and I'm going to have to apprehend this guy.
Citizens on patrol.
Yeah, exactly. Some fisherman carrying a gun is going to have to go track this guy down. And so the dude comes back after I'm dressed. I'm all rigged up, and he's like, all right, you're good to go. I was like, oh, okay. Like, is it clear? Like, what do you mean?
Were you
I'm
strapped
good
at
to
this
go?
point?
Oh, yeah, I was strapped.
He had nothing to say about
Well,
it.
no, I had a jacket over it. You know, I
okay.
mean, it was concealed.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I probably should have it concealed right now.
Right.
You know, I don't need to be flashing a piece around a bunch of cops.
They might kind of flip out.
They might think something a little different
right.
about it.
In this particular
situation. So I start walking in. I'm booking it. You know, I'm like, all right, I want to get up here and get to fishing. And I run into 4 officers that are walking the trail, and they're just meandering nice and slow, taking their time, looking at the ground and all this stuff. And I walk up on them, and I'm pretty nervous to walk up on them. Like, hey, here's some guy they haven't seen, and I'm just walking up behind them, and I'm carrying a gun.
Right.
You know, and they don't know it, but I'm carrying a gun. And so I walk up, you know, trying to cough and make noise and drag my feet like, hey, notice me. I'm behind you. Yeah, exactly. I'm behind you. And finally they turn around and they stop and they're like, hey, what's going on, man? And I was like, hey, the guy back there told me it was cool to walk the trail. Like, he said, coast is clear. I'm good. And the federal guys were like, where are you going? And I was like,
fishing.
I was like, as far up as I can go, man. I'm going fishing. I'm going up as far up as I can go. He's like, okay, well, keep an eye out. I'm like, for what? What do you mean keep an eye out?
Right.
He's like, well, you know, maybe they ditched something along the trail, personal belongings or
dead body.
Yeah, right. Who knows what they ditched? And he's like, just keep an eye out. And if you see anything suspicious, just leave it where it is and call us. I'm like,
10-4.
Okay. And so I ended up passing all the cops, and the whole time, like, I was like, all right, well, I got to keep an eye out just in case I see anybody or anything that isn't supposed to be here. It was a little weird. So the whole day I kind of fished, you know, looking over my back, like, and dude, then a plane shows up. This plane, they must have got a plane.
Right. Buzzing the treetops.
Oh, dude, just buzzing and just doing circles along the river. And Jared texts me. He's like, hey, so what's going on? Like, is the coast clear or what? And I was like, yeah, that's what they told me. But they got a plane that's just hovering above Neversink right now, above the trail and above the river and looking for something. He's like, all right, well, stay cocked and hot and make sure you're good to go. It's like, oh, I am, man. You never know what's going to happen, apparently. It was an interesting experience out there today.
It's funny. The Fugitive. Cameron Rhodes.
Fishing was all right, though. I mean, it took a little bit for it to heat up. But
heat up temperature-wise?
Yeah, and just, you know, the water came up.
Mm-hmm.
I checked flows this morning. It didn't seem like it moved too much, but that lower section is kind of iffy. There's a couple creeks coming in that bump it, and they don't have a gauge down there.
No.
And so you kind of have to guess.
How was clarity?
Clarity was off, man. It was like a tea colored.
Okay.
You know, it was a little brown stain.
Okay.
And you know, I was like, all right, well, it's a little stain. I'm gonna try an egg and a worm. You know, the basic ham and eggs, man. I'm gonna throw bacon and eggs and see what happens. And it was pretty dead for a while, man. And I picked up a couple on eggs and. You know, it was like, all right, well, that's not out of the normal. You know, they're eating some eggs.
Right.
I picked up a couple on worms here and there. You know,
but you're not trashing them.
No, and it wasn't how it was, you know, last week. And I get that water coming up and temperatures changing, and right now it's snowing. You know, we have all this weather that apparently needs to come in. We're not out of winter yet.
No.
As much as we want to believe it, we're not out of winter. But
well, I mean, what's the saying? They say, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and if you're loving the weather, wait another 5.
It changes that quick. In Colorado, there's no bad weather, just bad clothing. That's what my dad used to tell me. No bad weather, just bad clothing. And that's perfectly true. You know, I got out there. I was like, man, I wish I would have worn a puffy. I thought it was going to be a lot warmer today. But I was also trying a new leader that I had tied, and it wasn't reacting the way I wanted it to react. You know, it felt like my flies were moving ahead of my indicator the whole time. And I don't know why. I was trying to figure out if I need to shorten up certain sections or what the deal was, but I'd go to set the hook. You know, the indicator would move. I'd go to set the hook, and it's like you almost get slack.
Right. Like,
and I lost a lot of fish that didn't even feel hooked. It felt like bottom. Right. It didn't feel like you're coming off of a fish. It felt like it was bottom, but then you'd see a fish, you know, jump up kind of out of surprise, and you're like, whoa, that was a fish. Right. And I played with it a little bit and played with weight and tried to figure it out, but I couldn't quite dial it in. So I got to work that out a little bit. Some homemade leaders.
How long a leader are you fishing?
It was probably about 8.5, 9 foot, but it was pre-built. You know, I built it.
Right.
And I don't think it was as stiff as I needed it to be for nymphing, at least.
Were you throwing fluoro?
Yep. There was 2 sections of fluoro on there.
Just your bite section?
Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, the top section where it connects to the line wasn't quite there. I think it needed to be a little stiffer. I think I need to work on that a little bit. So I was kind of experimenting all day with some leader action, and I think that I missed a fair amount of fish because of it. I still landed a dozen or so, you know, so it wasn't bad.
No, that's pretty good right now, for sure. I would take that any day.
But I did, you know, it's one of those things too this time of year where it's like they can be eating lots of different things.
Oh, yeah.
You know, last week I told you it was like size 22 pheasant tails. They're crushing little betas. Mm-hmm. There's midges all over the water, but they wouldn't really touch a midge.
Right.
They're just eating these little tiny betas patterns. And today is like they'd eat the worm occasionally, eat the egg occasionally. It wasn't quite there. And then I threw on a size 14 CDC pheasant tail. Boom, 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 just started hammering.
Instantly turned on.
And then it just turned off again.
Right.
Immediately.
See, before the turbidity, this time of year, I'm kind of throwing, and I do this often, and I only do it for like 2 or 3 weeks out of the year. I'm throwing, you know, triple midge rigs.
Triple midge?
Yeah,
really?
triple midge rigs. They kill it for me on the Gunnison this time of year, right before the water starts kind of off-coloring.
I mean, it's not as expensive as like a triple 2-bit rig, but
no, it's not.
But that's an expensive rig. I had an expensive day today.
Right.
I lost some flies. And I think it was just because that leader was getting everything down so fast.
That and the Gunnison, I mean, you're never sink, you know?
Yeah.
It's not maintained.
No,
so,
there's a lot of trees and there's a lot of beavers.
We haven't had the big flush yet, so
we definitely need that flush.
There's a lot of debris. Last time I fished it, I noticed there was a ton of debris in the water. It's a lot of beaver work.
Yeah, this time of year it can be an expensive day out on the water. And I lost a couple of rigs where I was just like, "What the hell, man? Like that shouldn't have happened."
Right.
But it does happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an this time of year for me is my favorite time to really explore new leaders, to explore new rigs. Like I'm messing with tippet rings.
And it's cool to see too that the fish aren't just eating, you know, eggs and worms.
Right.
Like, you know, that's the gunny rig. That's the go-to gunny rig this time of year is like an egg and a worm.
Right.
Has to be on the rig. Has to be.
Right.
And it's cool to explore different flies and see that they are eating other bugs.
Right.
I pumped one fish today, and there was caddis larvae in there.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, there's caddis larvae in there, and there was some
Were you finding husks?
Pale midges. Yeah, there was still in the shuck.
Okay.
You know, still the caddis in the shuck. So I guess not larva. It was...
Well, larva inside of...
In the shuck. And I think that's why the pheasant tail kind of did it, you know, is that they were picking up some of those shucked caddis.
Right, exactly.
I mean, I have no idea. With that CDC on it, it might look like, you know, a bug trying to crawl out of the shuck. Who knows?
Right. Well, and, you know, that behavioral migration has started to take place now with BWOs, spring's on the way. I mean, I guess technically spring is already here.
Yeah. I saw one BWO today. I was stoked on that.
At least you saw one.
I saw one.
Yeah. I mean, it's that time of year they're starting to move.
I brought the dry fly rod, which is a dumb move. I didn't know the water was going to be stained, and it was like the one day I decide I'm going to bring a dry fly rod, the water's stained and up, and it's cold, and I was like, what am I doing? I'm just toting this thing around.
I did the same thing on the Arkansas. I fished it a week before, and I didn't look at the CFS, and then they raised the CFS to 750, and it's, you know, there's just all kinds of detritus in the water, and it's just completely off color. In fact, it was pretty turbid.
Yeah.
And I got my dry fly rod, and
Right.
I can't just leave it in the truck on next to the Arkansas, and it's like, God, I'm carrying this thing.
And sometimes
Like,
you
why not
got
bring
to.
this?
Sometimes it's worth it. It's like, in your opinion, it's almost like bringing the streamer rod at times, where it's like you never know when you might use it. But it's like I cast it a couple times just to make it worthwhile. Like I'm gonna cast this.
Right.
Bitch.
I'm gonna throw. I'm gonna throw this.
I'm gonna throw some double dries right now. Just because I brought it, I
Right.
gotta throw it.
All right. Well, you gotta get dialed for
Yeah,
the
you gotta get some
season.
reps.
Yeah,
get some
man.
reps in. But
Start minting dries.
it's gonna be an interesting year around here, man. I mean, we got trips starting to book. Towards the end of April, and it's like, dude, I don't know if that snow is gonna be gone. Our takeouts are gonna be muddy as hell. We're gonna need tow trucks waiting for us.
So you said you saw boats on the water.
Well, I didn't see any boats on the water, but I saw a trailer at the water park.
Okay,
I saw a trailer at the water park. Yeah.
Okay.
So people, I mean, you can float Northbridge down right now.
Where do you take out McCabe's?
No, you can take out a water park. I wouldn't take out at McCabe's.
There was a trailer at water park.
Yeah, there was a trailer at the water park.
Gotcha.
So somebody was floating
Because there's no
down.
takeout below the water park.
Just McCabe's.
And you can take out at McCabe's?
I wouldn't.
I haven't looked at it.
You got to drag your boat through
Right.
3 feet of snow.
That's fun.
We got a ton of snow still.
Yeah.
The nice part is like if you get out there early in the morning, you can walk on top of the snow. And you're like, sweet, this is smooth sailing. You're walking around. You're like, great, I'm on top of the snow.
Fish for 4 hours.
Yeah, and then you come back and you just have to post hole your way all the way back. You're like, this sucks. Why the hell did I do this?
Yep. Not
you're just-
worth it.
Yeah.
Not even worth the 12 fish you caught.
I mean, it is, it's good
always
getting
worth it.
out.
Yeah.
But it's tough, man. And it's that time of year. And this is one of my favorite times of year to fish, honestly, because
True.
the fish are hungry and you're out there alone. There's not too many, you don't see too many people out there where at least I go.
Well, the fish are hungry, and they're also, they're also a little naive. They haven't been casted at all winter. They've been under the ice, so they're a lot easier to fool this time of year.
But they still are picky, man.
You still got to throw them. I mean, on the Gunnison, you got to be dialed. The Taylor, you got to be dialed.
It is, and the thing I realized, and I just kind of thought about this, but if you go out there early when the water's clear, you can kind of see some of the structure, and you can see where some of those log jams are, and those piles that beavers have either dropped or ice shelves are moved down or whatever. And then when you go out there when it's tainted, when the water's dirty, you better know where those sons of bitches are, because you're going to hook up on them every time. And I noticed that today. It was like, man, I really should have took a harder look at where some of these stick piles are.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now I'm just losing rigs.
Yeah.
And that's hard, man. It's expensive.
Well,
Especially when you tie all winter, getting ready for summer, and all of a sudden you're losing all your flies right off the bat. You're like, son of a gun. What am I doing out here? I'm losing all this money before I even have a client with me.
that's why you tied all winter.
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't tie that much this winter, though, so now I'm really concerned.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I should have tied a little bit more.
Well, it's not too late.
It's not. It's still snowing.
I know now. I mean, you're getting on the water. Surely you kind of have a renewed vigor now, starting to feel pumped about things.
Definitely, yeah.
But now you probably just want to tie dry fly rigs, and
Oh, man,
you just want to tie dry.
Yeah, I just want to get ready to tie dry flies.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see that for a while,
Right.
unless I go over to the Arkansas and I might be able to throw some dries. But on another note, I did talk to Dan Brow today. I emailed Dan Brow about the salmon fry release.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard the podcast with Dan Brow, I think that's in maybe 5th or 6th episode. There's a 2-part series where I talked to Dan Brow, which is he's a fish biologist, head fish biologist in Gunnison County, and we discuss a pretty unusual phenomenon that is human involved, very heavily human involved, where we release a bunch of salmon fry. Fry meaning, 2-inch, 1.5, 2-inch.
Sure. Yeah.
Baby fish, pretty much.
Right.
But they're kokanee salmon. They release them into the East River, and they go down into the Gunnison River and go all the way into Blue Mesa. and grow for 3 years and then become mature and move up the river.
Right.
But basically, this whole movement is when they release all these salmon fry, it's something a lot of people in this valley look forward to go fish the salmon fry release. A lot of it's mainly streamer action, which can intrigue everybody, right? You know, throwing
Absolutely.
streamers that look like little salmon, and it can be absolutely unbelievable. But I did talk to Dan today about it. It's delayed, obviously, this year. There's a lot of ice that needs to break up on the river and on the mesa.
Yep.
And because the mesa was so, this is what I'm thinking, kind of by his response. But because the mesa is so low last year, or was so low last year, there's a lot more river for these fish.
A lot more
river.
There's
another, probably 4 miles of river.
Almost to Iola.
Yeah. It's almost Iola right now. I went and drove down there today, and the river's all the way out there, man.
Right.
And where last year it was lake. And so there's a lot of different factors that they have to think about right now, but it is delayed. It might be a couple weeks before they release these salmon fry, and they're still not sure if that's going to be the right timing.
And there's more to it than just that as well.
Definitely.
With the ice off, especially down in Iola, that starts triggering growth from all different critters and
plants
in Blue Mesa. Yeah, so we're talking about zooplankton, phytoplankton. Yep. These are all food sources for the salmon in Blue Mesa.
And if you're interested in this, definitely go listen to that podcast, the first one with Dan Brow, part 1, salmon release. It's very informative, and it does bring up some interesting facts that not a lot of people know about this salmon in Blue Mesa and the Gunnison Valley, kind of where they came from, the history. There's a lot of different things that we talk about, but that's a huge one, waiting for that ice to come up so that there's something for those fry to feed on when they get to Blue Mesa Reservoir. Yep. So it is going to be delayed this year. Obviously we'll try and keep you updated a little bit.
I'm still thinking we'll probably release late April.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
I don't think I've ever seen us release in May.
I don't think so either.
But we'll do what it takes.
What I used to think too was like the moon had a huge thing to do with it, and he was saying that no, we don't really worry about the moon too much.
Nah.
And the first thing I thought about was like, oh, when's the new moon? And it's this Friday. And it's like, oh, no, we don't really care about that.
Now we're busted on that. Well, we care more about farmers' ditches than we care about the moon.
But, those ditches aren't running right now either. There's so much ice still on this river that, you'd be blown away if you come up here and try and fish the Gunnison right now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are, and that's deterring a lot of people. A lot of people want to get out and go fish. They got the cabin fever. They're like, all right, spring's here. Let's go out and fish.
Right.
And they get out there and they go, well, shit, did not expect this.
Right.
And people come, from Denver or whatever, and we've been seeing some people who are out skiing and they're like, well, let's go fish. And they're like, neither one's exactly what we expected, we're skiing or fishing.
We're definitely in it's purgatory for us right now.
Yeah.
We're in between.
Like I said earlier,
stuff.
It's almost a limbo, we're just kind of in the middle of this weird turnover.
Yeah. And
fishing can be good, but you got to work for it.
You do got to work for it. You got to put you got to put time on the water at this point. You got to really do your homework, really change out a lot of rigs, really try to figure them out. Be bold. Try some new stuff. Try some new stuff you tied this winter.
Definitely. There's no it's not going to hurt.
Right.
It's really not.
Right.
Unless I was with a client, today I would have kept throwing the same thing.
Exactly.
But I was like, what, screw it. I'm going to try some different things and see what happens.
Well, and the problem, too, is it can still be so damn cold that you don't want to change up.
Yeah.
I can't change up because I can't feel my fingers.
Yep. It was pretty cold this morning. I think when I got to Neversink, it was just above freezing, which, isn't terrible. But there was also some wind today.
Right.
Which didn't help.
I think we saw 50s in Pitkin today.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
It was toasty.
I think I saw...
And then now it's dumping snow.
When I was hanging out... yeah, right? Now it's snowing. As I was driving up here, I'm like, son of a gun, it's
I think you asked,
again.
how are the roads? Like, the roads should be great. And then I started looking out the window like, oh, yeah.
It's snowing. No, roads are dry all the way up here for the most part, so that's good. But it's just... Man, it's like... it can be such an awesome time, but you really do have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
And pick those days. And when you think you should go fishing, sometimes, like, I've had those days where I'm like, I should go fish. And then I kind of look at the weather. I'm like, it's not looking great, but I really want to go fish. I probably should have stayed inside and tied flies all day.
And vice versa, by the way.
Exactly. It's like,
damn, I should have gone fishing.
Yep. That was yesterday for me. It was like, I should have went and fished yesterday, but I tied all day, and I was like, man, I should have done that today, instead of doing what I did.
Spring's so difficult that way. I mean, I went and fished.
It's fickle.
Yeah, I went and fished the other day, and it was an evening fish, and the weather was crap. And I was like, you know what? At least the weather's crap. You know it's going to be on the water. So I go out. The wind just instantly picks up when I get out of the car. It's like gusts of 25 miles an hour. It just was cold. Flurries of snow. And then I start walking away, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm miserable. So I rack my gear and start heading back. And the wind stops. Sun pops out.
Exactly.
I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to go fish this hole.
I'm going to go back out there.
And then right when I get on the river, flurries. But it's you know what, man? I'm done with this.
It's just the way it is.
And then when I got to the car, it was cracking blue.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time that's the way it goes. I was just hoping I didn't have to shoot somebody out there today. I was like, well, I hope I don't see this fugitive that they're looking for.
See, I would have been screwed. I would have bought a bear mace to a gun battle.
Like, every time I'd like walk into a new area, I'd be like, all right, what could happen here? Am I vulnerable? What's about, who knows? I have no idea. They had 6-7 cop cars out there looking for somebody.
That's not where I'd go try to evade the law.
Right? I mean, honestly, I would. I'd go there. I know that place better than anybody. They're not going to cross the river.
Yeah, I mean, none of these cops obviously had waders on.
No. I got blinds built out there for duck hunting. I can go hide. I can go do whatever I need to do. I'm not saying I'm going to, but if I did, I could probably get away with it out there.
Are you guys hearing this, folks?
I could definitely get away with it out there. I'd find places to hide.
Cool hand cam over here.
Oh, dude, you could sit on some of those cut banks and just tuck right into those cut banks, and no one would even see you. They'd walk right by you.
Till you die of hypothermia.
Oh, if you got waders on. Always bring your waders, dude. I always have my taco bag in my truck. If I'm going to steal a car, I'm bringing my taco bag. I'm gonna dump this car. Okay, if I was the guy...
A waiter's going to help you. A waiter's going to help you at 12 at night.
If I was the guy that dumped this car, okay, let's put it hypothetical out here. If I was the guy that stole this car... And I was like, all right, I'm going to dump it at Neversink. That was my plan from the get-go. Maybe it wasn't his plan. But if that was my plan, like, all right, I'm going to dump this car at Neversink. I'm for sure bringing my waders.
Well, yeah.
And I'm going to bring a fly rod, Like, I'll get out there so I can fish in the morning and be like, no, never saw anybody. I have no idea. I hiked down from McCabe's.
No, I didn't jack a car, but I also have not renewed my fishing license this year. Sorry, officer.
Some bitch. That's how you get caught. Exactly. Like, better have all your affairs in order before you go stealing a car and parking it and everything. Bring your taco bag full of waders, bring your puffy, bring a couple snacks, and you could hide out for a while. You really could.
Yeah.
You could make it happen.
It's true.
You could build a shelter if it snows. You can do whatever. There's enough down trees from beavers out there. I got it figured out. I think I got it dialed in.
I'm on to you.
Yeah, exactly. If I ever call you and tell you I stole a vehicle, you know where I'm going to be hiding. I'm going to be in Neversink.
If there's a bounty,
even Jared and I talked about it today, and he was like, dude, if you ditched that car and boogied up that trail and you could cross the river, even not cross the river, you could be at McCabe's in no time. And then from McCabe's, you could go hit county roads. You could keep jutting up. You could go wherever you want to go. You really could. Or you could go down. Down's more dangerous. I'd go up towards town.
The second you touch private property, those ranchers are going to have you dialed, though.
Yeah. You just got to know how to get by. Got to know what paths to take. Like I was telling you, man, I was like, dude, I know that place for like the back of my hand.
Why don't you go get that guy then?
Yeah, I was waiting for him.
Why'd you waste your time fishing?
I was waiting for him. He never popped his head up, dude.
That's because he did what I would have done. I would have dumped the car and hitchhiked down to Montrose.
I think he bailed.
Yeah.
He bailed. Or I'm not, okay, it might not have been a he. It might have been a she.
That's true. Let's not discriminate here. We don't know.
We're being a little discriminatory? How do you say that?
You did fine.
No, that was not
But
right.
not the first one.
What is it?
Discriminatory.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
now it sounds
I
wrong.
don't have a college education, man.
I do, but shit.
Yeah, now it doesn't even sound like a word.
Yeah, you say it enough. I don't know.
Fishing, stealing cars, you know. A little grand theft and a little fishing.
Cool hand can.
Yeah, exactly. Just Jimmy the Lock, dude. Go grand theft and go. I'd be like, dude, I was just trying to get my fish on, man. I didn't have a car to drive down here, so I went ahead and nabbed one. It was easy.
Well, they only
No
found
one
him,
locks their cars in Gunnison.
they only found him out because he was going down river donkey knocking every fisherman he found.
He was low holing them, dude.
Yeah.
Somebody called him in for low holing.
Dude.
You're like, you're low holing me, man.
Dude was bait fishing. Don't
Yeah.
bait fish on the gunny. They'll get you.
Jeez, he was worm dunking, and
Yeah.
hopefully they caught him, dude. We'll
Big-
have to find out.
Well, big man drowning worms.
I
on
might
the river.
call, you know, like, did you guys get him? Did you get him? I was the guy out there fishing.
Well, you
remember I
remember-
was walking behind you with
Well,
a
you remember we
firearm?
called in the dude on the ski-doo.
Oh, man, we
Hauling
haven't
ass
told
up.
that story.
Have we not?
We've never told that story. Do you want to tell it? Do you want me to
Why
tell it?
don't you start? I'm going to grab a beer.
Okay, will you grab me one?
No.
Okay, perfect. So, Ryan and I are doing a little float. I think it's probably mid-June, maybe we're doing this float. Yeah, because we were trying to catch a green dray catch.
Yeah, correct.
And he said correct. I don't know if you can hear him. But we were trying to catch a green dray catch, and we were floating, I think, mid-June, late June. And we get down to the kayak park or the water park, which is basically just man-made. It doesn't matter. I'll take either one. Man-made waves, you know, so people in town can go play in their kayaks. It's fun for the rafters. We probably brought this up before. The water park, the fishermen hate it. But so we're coming up on the second wave of the water park, which is pretty mellow wave, and it's pretty much Gunnison's beach, right? You know, if I put it that way, like
That's where all the college girls hang out.
yeah,
and all the
exactly. You
dudes.
catch a good bikini hatch down there. You know, do you want to go up or down?
Yeah, bring me up.
You want to go up?
Just a tiny bit.
You were redlining a minute ago, so I brought you down.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We'll try that.
I feel my voice sounds way sexier when it's high.
Okay, we'll bring you up a little more.
Too
That's
sexy.
not- oh,
Too
that's-
sexy.
that's pretty high.
I'm too sexy now.
If you laugh or do anything crazy, it's gonna redline.
That feels
It's gonna
right.
blow everybody's eardrums
Now
out.
it feels right.
Okay, let's get back here. So we're about to drop into the second wave here. Pretty mellow little drop. And we see this guy downriver
Pinning it.
on a jet ski on the river. This is not a jet ski river, folks. Like, this is... These don't belong here.
Right.
This is a small river. This isn't like you're floating the Colorado. This isn't below Lake Mead where you can, you know, this is that.
Yeah, this is not the
Colorado.
Pacific
But
Northwest.
yeah, you can't take jet skis up this river. And so we're about to drop, and this dude is just pinning it. He hits the third wave, the last wave, jumps the third wave, lands, and he takes his hand off the throttle. He's telling us to move aside as we're dropping into the wave.
Telling us to
as
move.
we're dropping in, telling us to move in a raft. He's got a jet ski.
Right.
Pins it, jumps up, almost smokes our boat.
I mean, we got sprayed.
Yeah, he was within...
He missed us by 3 feet.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty close. Dude pulls in. There's a little takeout there. Pulls in. A trailer was ready for him. A trailer was already backed in to the takeout. Jumps on the trailer. Just drives the jet ski. This guy was skilled.
He knew what he was doing.
He had some motor skills.
Yeah.
Drives right onto the trailer, and the truck rolls out while he's on the jet ski.
They go.
Gone. So we pull over to the Gunnison Beach. There's all these girls in bikinis. They're like, did you guys see that? And I'm like, yeah, we were right there. We almost got smoked. We call the cops. Or somebody. Did I call the cops?
No, but the cops showed up.
Cops showed up. And it was Officer Drum. Drum doesn't work here anymore.
I missed Drum, actually. He was my
He
favorite.
went back to Chicago. Crazy guy.
I thought he went... Nah, whatever.
He
I thought he
back
went to Denver.
No, he went back. I think he went back to... Maybe he went to... I don't know. Who
He
cares?
needed
this
more
has
action.
nothing to do with the story. So we talked to the cops, and we're like, hey, you know, this guy's coming up river on a jet ski, almost smokes us while we're floating down the river in the jet ski, and rolls out. we didn't really have a good description on the guy. He was moving too freaking fast.
All I remember is him like waving us out of the way.
And
like,
we were dropping into wave going, is this for real right now?
sorry, dude, we're committed.
Like, what is about to go down right now? Yeah, we're already dropping, and this guy's hitting the wave right next to us.
I mean, you can row, but
we were committed. There's no way I could have back rowed out of that situation.
No.
There's no
Or
way
off
I
to
could
the
have.
side.
No, or off to the side. I had to hit the meat. You know, I had to hit it where I need to hit it.
Yeah.
And so we talked to the cops, and we talked to a couple different cops, and everyone there saw everything that went down. Everyone, for the most part, I think they got like 10 different statements. We were all writing statements of what happened. I talked to the cop. He ends up calling Parks and Wildlife or somebody, and they go, "Oh, well,
I think he's allowed to do this.
Apparently, he's allowed to do it."
Right.
And
it's not a prop.
What the hell? He's allowed to ride a jet ski up the river?
Yeah, let's start running jet boats.
I've heard people talk about that, and it's like, no, this is not okay. They said there's only one place in Colorado where you can do that, and that's the Colorado River, right?
Right. So I've heard.
And everything else, you can't.
Right.
Apparently, but the Gunnison, you can.
Apparently, you can. I mean, technically, if you think about it, when we're at high runoff and,
it
Beaver
doesn't
Creek
matter.
is backed up.
It doesn't matter. You should not have a jet ski on this river.
Well, agreed.
This river's too small for a jet ski.
It's not safe at all.
And we almost, if he would have hit us, oh, dude, that guy would have been, and they
also
called me.
Trash your boat.
They did a follow-up. They called me, and they said, we went and talked to him. We did not issue him a ticket or anything because it's okay for him to do what he did.
Right.
And I go, no, that was reckless. That if he would have hit us, he would have trashed my livelihood. He would have killed us.
Remember 3 months later, all of a sudden it started seeming kind of cooler.
Oh yeah, you're like, that dude is a badass.
Actually, that was pretty
I don't want to
sweet.
give him props,
Right.
but it's like that was pretty freaking cool.
Let's just say if it's like the zombie apocalypse, I'm running jet skis up the Gunny.
But can you believe that?
That's
I
crazy.
couldn't believe it when it happened.
No, I was like, what the hell is this guy doing?
What is about to happen?
Is that a
right
jet
now?
ski? That's a jet ski.
That's literally. We looked at each other like, is that a jet ski? This
Right.
guy's coming up river on a jet ski. And mindful, this is a pretty shallow river for the most part. This guy had to get
Right.
through a lot of. The only place he could have put in is McCabe's.
Right. I think he had
Came up from
the private. I think he had some connections and jumped in on the private. And I mean, there's places you can put in on that private.
bullshit.
I think it did.
I was pissed.
Yeah, I know you're pretty salty.
Well,
I was
dude,
pissed at first.
Are you serious? Like,
Right.
I mean, come on, dude. Now everybody's gonna do it.
Right.
You see one guy do it, and it's like, oh, cool. We
I
can
haven't
drive
seen a
jet
single
skis on
other
this
person
river.
doing it.
There's gonna be jet skis sitting in the water park trying to do flips in the waves, and it's like, what? No.
Yeah, kayakers
not
are gonna.
okay.
Yeah, you're gonna kill a kayaker.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have a trolling motor
Right.
down below Neversink.
Right.
We're not allowed to use a trolling motor with an unregistered raft when it turns into a lake. But this guy can drive a jet ski all the way up through town.
No prop.
That's BS.
Oh man, that's
nonsense.
Oh, it's ridiculous. That dude's gonna kill somebody.
Oh, there's been so many fishing guides have been ticketed for having a trolling motor on their boat.
right. Not running it, just having it.
They're just having it.
So wait, you can't have a trolling motor?
No, I mean, screw it. I'm gonna do it if I need to.
Yeah, on those windy days.
Especially when it gets to a lake down there,
Right.
at our takeout, and you got a mile to go, and you're not gonna row a lake. Yeah, I got one of those for you. A little worm. Oh, it's in my truck.
No worm dirt.
No worm dirt for you. It's in my truck. We can go get it. I got to piss.
Typical.
Yeah, I wish I would see those guys again.
Fishing by Ski-Doo. I'm gonna start.
dude.
I'm gonna do my. I'm
You
gonna
know
start
what
my
would've
own
been
guide
a
business. I'm gonna take over.
Better move, like as that guy's jumping up the wave, is just stick my oar blade out and just clothesline him and just ruin him, dude. Just smoke him where he's full reconstruction of the face, dude. Just annihilate him. I would have been bummed if he broke my oar, though.
He could
He probably would have torn me apart if I was holding my oar and he's
Yours
coming
is-
up 40 miles an hour on a Ski-Doo.
Yours is carbon, right?
Yeah, but still,
You ain't breaking
that
that
would
oar.
suck, dude. That would have not been fun.
Well,
but it
and
would.
then you got to rescue the guy after
Yeah,
you just
exactly.
toasted
After
him.
I just knocked him out with my ore blade.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Great. Now we got to do a fucking rescue. There's an F word. Sorry. There it is. There's the first one, folks.
Well, we never took the explicit off of the actual.
No, we didn't.
Label, right?
No. So there's one, but we're keeping it pretty low key.
We are keeping it decent, folks, so don't worry too
But
much.
yeah, man, if I were to see that guy again, or if I would have ran into that fugitive today, man, who knows what would have happened.
Well, if I run into Skeeter, I'm giving him a high five. I'll tell you that.
Ah, man, he's gonna be coming up that wave, and you're gonna stick your hand out for a high five, and I'm gonna be bummed because I'm gonna clothesline him right after that. He's gonna be on top of the world, and then he just gets knocked out.
I'm doing it.
Toast. Gone. Yeah, that would've been.
I don't think we'll see him again.
I don't think we will. Hopefully not.
And haven't seen anyone since, so I don't think he started a
No.
movement. But maybe here we are starting a
Yeah,
movement.
right.
Well, good thing no one listens. So.
Yeah. And we haven't had a podcast in over a month, so we dropped all of our listeners.
That's true.
But
All 122.
yeah, all of you small listeners out there in Radio Land, as Kevin Alexander would put it. We need to have him back on the podcast.
We
That'd be a
definitely need
good
to have
time.
him back on. I got some more questions. He didn't get to field everything.
No. I've talked to him, and he'd be down to do another podcast with us and, clear some things up and go over some more things. And I mean, the biggest thing I can kind of stress is just people need to email us, man. And, send us their whatever they want to hear.
Right.
Because that's the toughest part is for us. We want to be able to field some of these and talk to, bring our own insight on some things.
Well, we're just a bunch of dumb fishermen. So, I mean, we're not the meat eater. We don't know how to come up with topics. Help us.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying.
Help us.
We're
Help
BSing
you.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
well,
we were talking about a little bit of fishing report. We talked about the Gunnison.
we did talk about the Gunnison. I know the Arkansas. I looked at it today. It's running 580 in Salida.
Okay, so they did drop it. Was
Yep.
that 750 their flush?
Not big flush,
Yeah.
but I mean it was a small one just to knock out some of their debris.
Will they run another one before Fib Arc?
Yeah, most likely.
Oh, okay.
I saw a good report today that kind of described everything that was going to happen on the Arkansas and how their hatches are looking and how their water's looking and everything. And they're looking good. Again, everything's going to be delayed. Same with here in Gunnison. Everything will be a tad bit delayed on hatches just because of high water.
Yep.
But
Which is very typical for
Definitely.
for a big snow year.
Yep. I got some good intel. The fishing's been good over there as long as it stays warm. Even with the cold spells and cloudy weather, there's still bugs coming off. And
Did you get to dip a thermometer? I'm wondering what the
I
water
haven't,
temperature-
man.
It must be still pretty chilly in the water.
yeah,
at
it's got to
least.
be a little cold. But they are seeing some blue wings. Blue wings are going to happen throughout April. They're kind of expecting the caddis hatch to happen, maybe first week of May, the big caddis hatch, and then they're going to see a big runoff.
Right.
As same with us, but even with that high water, there can still be good fishing. And, I talk about it in high water tactics, hell or high water. I think that's episode 9, maybe. I'm trying to remember. It's hard to go through and trying to remember all these, but I definitely talk about some high water fishing tactics. But so the Ark is fishing pretty good. I definitely encourage you to reach out to some local resources if you can. I don't have all the resources. I haven't been over there in a week or so.
Well, so I guess a couple new fly shops are opening in the Arkansas.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I
and
think-
again, I don't know all the info.
So I think it's a new one is
there's going to be one
the Next
downtown. Is that what it's going to be called?
it's called the
Okay.
Next Eddy.
There's going to be one downtown, and then I think there's going to be one almost right next to Ark Anglers,
Okay.
which will be interesting.
I don't know which one that is. Which one? Where's First Street?
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
either. I never.
Like I said, there's one downtown.
Slide is the most confusing damn place.
It is a little weird, just the way the streets go. But then there's going to be another one that's opening up, like I said, like 2 blocks away from Ark Anglers.
Damn. Ark Anglers had like a 20, 30 year run of no competition. This is going to be interesting.
It'll
for
be
them.
very interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be good. I think that there'll be some other players in the game and mix things up a little bit. I know again, this isn't positive, but I believe there's only one of those shops that holds permits. To guide the river or float the river.
Right.
Again, this is all hearsay. I can't say it's for sure, but that's what I've heard. So it might change a little bit down in the valley there in Salida, but as for now, I'd say the Ark is going to be fishing good from here on until middle of May, and then it'll change a little bit. Same with the Gunny. We just need all that water to break up a little bit, all that ice to break up a little bit, but it's still fishing good. But I haven't been up Taylor. I have no idea about Taylor. I've heard good things that Taylor's fishing well. They bumped it.
Yeah, they bumped Taylor up, which I love this time of year.
Was it 150 out of the dam?
Yeah. I love when they bump it. Fish start going where they should be.
Yeah.
The Taylor is. Those fish will just sit
pocket
in those,
water.
Yeah, they'll sit in those major thaw wigs all winter, and they're tough to access.
Yep.
But yeah, they're starting to go where they're supposed to be. Fishing's getting really good. Clarity's always good on the Taylor, so that's fun.
Exactly.
But the water temps don't change much there. It's tailwater.
Yep.
But we're starting to see a lot of fish. And ice off just happened in most places about 3 weeks to a month ago. So there's pretty much all.
What do you mean ice off on the river?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, no, those lakes are frozen.
On the lower stretch, yeah. You're still ice fishing. Ice fishing on Taylor Reservoir. But, everything's pretty much iced off. If you're bold and you're willing to post hole, because it doesn't matter what time of day on the Taylor, you're post holing.
Yep. And I'd say same with the east.
Yeah.
You're getting a little bit of runoff starting to happen, but not much.
Right.
I mean, it's still cold up in the high country. So you might be seeing, I know the east can be okay. I looked at flows today. It's only running like 75,
right?
I think, which isn't much.
But the east is about to be pumping.
Yeah. It's going to start flowing. Everything's going to start moving here real soon, and we're going to see those flows bump up pretty quick.
Right.
So something, we talked about a couple podcasts ago, maybe it was our Tippet Talk podcast. It might have been where we answered some listener questions about when is the best time to be up here and how is runoff looking and coming up for the summer. I think we can kind of assess it a little better now, starting to see, just how the weather's looking. And, we're still getting snow, which is good. We need as much snow as we can get in the high country.
We will take it.
But our warm nights are what's going to cause the river to bump up, all the rivers to bump up a little bit. And we are starting to see some warmer nights, and so that's causing these rivers to move up a little bit. But I'm still predicting, man, I think third week of June, I usually tell people during a high water year, it's like, hey, third week of June, last week of June is the time to be here.
So when do they do the big, like, you guess a CFS?
Oh, that's going to happen in May.
When do you think? You think end of May peak?
No.
When do you think?
Man, that's tough, dude. I mean, we can go for it right now if we want to throw it out there.
I'll make a prediction.
I don't think it's going to get – I have a hard judgment. I really don't have an idea how much snow is really out there. I know there's a lot, and people keep telling me there's a ton of it.
I think – here's my prediction.
I think
if I'm making a prediction at peak, I'm going to say the last day of May – could be.
You're saying May 31st?
I'm saying May 30th.
There's 31 days in May, right?
I have no idea.
We'll find out. Keep going.
I forgot my birthday.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
I'm saying if I was gonna do a rough estimate, I'd say
there's 31 days in May.
I'd say late May,
it's a Friday,
early June, and I think we're gonna see. I think we see $5,000 this year.
We haven't really broken it.
Yeah.
Did we break it last year?
Not last year, but 2 years ago. I think we saw like 5,200. I could be wrong.
And it was maybe for like a day or two.
Oh yeah, it
was
just
very
unleashed.
fast.
I predict we're gonna have kind of a slow spring, and we're gonna have just an ejection of that of those peaks.
So
up in
what's
the
your
West
number?
Alps.
You're saying May 31st.
I'm saying all right. I'll say May 31st. I'll be conservative. I'm gonna say 4,800 CFS.
I thought you just said it was going to break. 5,000.
I didn't say it was gonna break. I thought we'd see $5,000, but I'm starting to think about
You're
it.
saying peak though. I'm writing it down. I'm gonna write it
All
down.
right. Am I doing my peak right now? All right.
Yeah, do your
I'm gonna
peak
say
right
May 31st, 4,900 CFS.
We're writing it down.
4,900 CFS.
Ryan McVeigh. Maybe we should take bets, dude.
Well, yeah.
May 31st,
4,900.
4,900.
Yeah. I think it's gonna unleash for a day and a half, 2 days.
Okay. I guess I got to make mine.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I can see mine scared you.
It did a little bit because I'm trying to think of when it starts to drop and when our real
Peak does
has
happen
been.
in June too.
It can happen in June. All right. I'm going to set my date as June 3rd. Okay? I'm writing it down, June 3rd.
Now I'm having second thoughts.
Cam is June 3rd. And I'm going to say, ooh, this is a tough one, man. I don't know how much snow is up there.
There's a lot. There's a bunch.
I'm going to even go
I think we're at like 175%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
There's a lot. It all depends on how quickly it releases.
This is
long
hard.
it
I
holds.
welcome everybody to send us their bets
Yeah,
as well.
please.
We'll send something out. We'll send a gift out if we can.
I was actually going to text Patrick Blackdale. Patrick, if you ask him what he thought it was, because
That'd be interesting to see
I'd
what
like to
he
get some-
thinks.
I'd like to
He's
get
got a
some
little
folks-
bit more insight, I feel like.
he
Maybe
doesn't-
not.
He
Who
doesn't know.
knows?
He doesn't know a damn thing.
He knows way more than we do, I feel like.
Probably right.
Okay, June 3rd. I'm going to say
I'm a biologist, man. I know everything.
I don't want to like
You're already too scared. You're
I
too
don't-
scared to even answer.
I don't want to prices right you. Like, I don't want to be like
Oh, you
4901. I don't want to do one of those.
You can,
I'm
man.
gonna say
and it's Price is Right rules.
it is prices right rules. We're taking bets here.
But you don't-
If people send us emails with bets what the Gunnison's gonna hit, we'll send out a prize to the winner. Okay.
You only get an OPHJ if you get it just right.
Yeah, exactly. You got to look that one up on Urban Dictionary.
Whoops.
Okay, I'm gonna say 4789. For some reason, that number's coming to my head.
Okay, man.
4789.
Shooting the moon.
I'm going for real.
God, yours looks better than mine now.
No takebacks. It's $1 if you want to take it back.
Maybe next podcast.
Yeah,
we'll talk
maybe
about it.
next podcast.
We'll talk
we can
in.
reassess.
We'll talk May 20th.
But like I said, if you want to send, we're doing this now. Yeah, if you want to send us your bets, what you think the peak flow on the Gunnison River date and peak flow, if you nail that date and peak flow closest to, we'll send out a prize package. We'll send out something.
Yeah, we'll throw a PFO hat in there.
Yeah, we'll do something.
Maybe some pro bands.
Well, yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Have you tried out your pro bands? Did you put them on?
Yeah.
Dude, those things are sick. Huh?
I'm pretty stoked on them.
Pretty sweet.
My only complaint is I have a warped spool.
Ooh, well, that's your fault.
Yeah, they don't work on warped spools very well. They're actually
On
designed
warped spools.
warped spools. They're designed for perfection, which is what I strive for, anyways. So
I remember when I was telling you that they even on their website it says it needs a little break-in time, for them to kind of fit in the spool. I've been using them for the last 2 weeks or so, and dude, I can't complain.
I see.
There's not much to complain
The one
about.
thing I disagree with that, man, I have not had any issue needing a break-in time. They're working perfectly.
Great. And you know what I have
My
realized?
tippet is staying right where I want it.
When I pull out fresh ones, like if I haven't used a spool in a while and I pull it out, it tends, that band tends to pull out, but you push it back in and it usually starts to form fit a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed. It's not like a default, I don't think. I think it's just, hey, I haven't used this yet and it needs a little time to break in.
No matter what, it's night and day towards the factory bands on those spools.
And that's Pro Bands by Get Adrift Outdoors. And, they're still running the promo code where, they are still running the promo code if you want to get, I think it's, what did I say, 35% off maybe? Yeah, it's 35% off. It's Guided Trip Pod when you check out. and they'll still run 35% off right now. And these things they're badass.
They're worth their weight in
Yeah.
gold. I'm loving mine. I haven't had a spool out.
And it's cool because they give you different colors.
Well,
for
they look
each
pretty
one.
sweet.
They do, and once you start figuring out the colors, you got to kind of color coordinate, and you're like, okay, cool. Blue is 3X,
Right.
green is 4X, and you go through the colors, and you can figure out exactly what you're looking for.
Well,
it's pretty easy to look down and be like, cool, I need white.
Yeah.
That's 4X.
Well, I took a little vinyl pin.
There you go.
And I put 5X, 4X,
Yep.
3X, 2X,
There you
all
go.
the way up, and they're labeled
For
perfectly.
people with memory loss.
For people who were drunk on the river. Or colorblind people.
Or color. Oh, I forgot about that. Or colorblind.
I'm colorblind
Sorry.
and dyslexic,
Sorry.
man. I have to label things.
Oh, I label everything. I
My-
put my name on everything.
My bloodworms are olive color.
Yeah. Turns out the bloodworms I've been fishing aren't the right color.
Why are you out fishing me right now?
That's funny shit. But yeah, those things,
I'm a big fan.
and
And this isn't
dude, I am
some
too.
advertising
No,
plug.
it's not, because we could have done that at the beginning.
I am sick of losing my tippet. I'm sick of wasting my tippet.
And honestly, it's in the middle of our podcast where people got to listen to it to
Right.
hear if they want a promo code or
That's
not.
true.
I
We might have to do a plug at the end or something.
Maybe, yeah, we'll do a plug it.
I want to rep these guys because I really
No,
like
they're
what
awesome, and the owners are awesome, and the founders are awesome. It's Colorado born. It's guide influenced. One of the owners is a guide. He guides more than most, and it's pretty sweet. It's a cool thing that I think it's one of those products where you see and you go, I have to have that. I need that now.
Yeah, that's how we were.
And there's not many of them.
Right.
There's not many of those fly fishing products out there. A lot of people buy, all this crap that they're like, oh, I need this. This is great. And it's like, turns out you don't really need that.
Right.
If you can simplify it like this, boom, easy. And they're interchangeable for, you can get, everyone has this specific tippet that they use.
Right.
And so you can buy them for your specific tippet.
And
you know?
and the pro bands cover basically every major tippet brand there is out there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they're doing all the obscure guys, but I'm sure
They're
they
starting
will.
to.
Yeah,
They're starting to.
They're an up and comer, and I think they're gonna kill it. I'm a big fan of theirs.
They're
so.
pretty sweet, and even in the cold, they work
Right.
well. I mean,
Well,
we'll see how they do, in the heat of the summer when
Well-
they're on a boat for, 100 days.
yeah.
We'll see how they do in the
Put
sun.
it to the test.
Yeah, we'll put it to the test,
I mean,
man.
it's
and
silicone, dude. That
yeah.
stuff holds up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
No, I'm stoked on them.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to use them and check them out.
Well-
And we get to rep them a little bit. We're not, this isn't a paid sponsorship by them. It's just like, hey, we like the product.
Just a mutualism.
yeah.
And for superficial, I had a couple really cool photos taken, of a nice fish I caught on the Taylor, and those tippet rings happened to be in the background, and really kind of made the photo pop too. It actually just looked cool,
Yeah.
pretty unique. I
They're-
fished with my
they're
cousin
sweet
Blake,
stuff.
and he was like, "What are those?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Dude,
right.
you gotta check these."
I think
out.
that's what's going to happen is people are going to see them and be like,
Right.
whoa, I need those.
Right.
What are those? Where can I get them?
because everyone has the same problem we
Yeah.
do. It's not like I'm inventing this stupid
No, and
problem
it's
that
like,
happens.
especially if you're here's the thing I think about it. If you're buying guide spools, you're buying 100 yards or what is it? 100 yards, 100 meters? What is it? 100 yards.
I think so. Yeah.
100 yards. Meters is the same as yards, right?
No, meters
Okay,
longer
see?
than
I didn't go to college. Okay, I'm stupid. Take that back. Let's go ahead and forget I even said any of that.
Oh, we'll edit this one.
Yeah. The 100 meter spools?
I don't know.
I'd have to look at
I can
them.
go grab one.
I'd have to look at it. I don't know. Anyways,
The folks out in listener land know what's going on.
yeah, they know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But if you have those tippet bands that come on the spools, they wear out. And
The sun beats them up.
yeah, they suck. And then all of a sudden you got the big cluster of tippet everywhere and you got to deal with it. And you're constantly cutting tippet and you're constantly dealing with it. So these things help.
Yeah.
We won't say any more because, you should just check them out. Get a Drift Outdoors. Again, this isn't a plug. We're just talking to how great the product is because we love it. And
Check them out on Instagram.
They're
as
working
well.
great. Yeah, check them out on Instagram. Awesome shit.
Stoked on them.
Yeah,
Stoked.
really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't been more impressed with. I just keep talking about it. I got to stop talking about it.
I almost went off on another rant.
Yeah, right. We keep doing that, but
what else is on the docket?
We've talked about how the fishing's. Well, we talked about how the fishing is now, and we started to talk about what we're looking forward to. Sorry, we're looking at a dog-cat situation here. Dog wants to destroy the cat, but knows he shouldn't.
My fiance just walked in. Clearly, we don't have a studio.
No, there's no studio here. It's just us, and we're just winging it here. But we started to talk about what the year is looking like, and obviously high water, and we started talking about we estimated what high water is going to be. So what we can look forward to is I can almost guarantee, I'll put it this way, almost guarantee that we're going to be floating and fishing good water by 3rd, 4th week of June. And I tell everybody that, and it's hard to get clients here during that time.
Wait, do you actually think that? You don't think we're going to have a long runoff?
No, we'll be floating.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think fishing's going to be
good?
No,
here's the thing that people need to think about that people don't understand about the Gunnison. I've recently figured out in the last, 3 or 4 years. Once we hit peak, it starts to come down.
Yep.
It's still dirty. It starts to come down. Once it hits $3,000, it clears up. And it's unbelievable fishing.
Right.
And nobody's here.
Right.
All the guides are out just trashing big fish, and nobody's here. And we're all out having the time of our lives. There's hatches going on. There's, we're throwing big bugs. We're throwing hopper droppers along the banks. It's amazing. Even though it's running $3,000 for this river, that's a lot of water pushing down this river.
Definitely is.
But it's green.
Right.
And they're
green.
eating because it just cleared up, and they're eating. They're on the feed, and it can be some tough fishing. It can be really tough, but that's what dials you in.
Right.
If you're a good fisherman, okay, let's put it this way. If you're a novice, you don't fish much, you don't really know what you're doing, it'd be tough.
Right. And walk wading can be tough.
Walk wading is going to be hard as well because it's going to be hard to access certain areas.
Exactly.
That's the hardest part. It's going to be hard to access certain things, walk wading. If you're in a boat, you have more of an advantage because you can access more. You can get to certain areas. But if you're just learning how to fly fish, this is not the time to be up here.
Right.
If you know what you're doing, you've been fishing for a while, and you want to learn how to fish high water well, come up here.
Right.
Because you can do it, and it can be amazing.
True.
You're not throwing size 22s. You're not throwing 18s. You're not throwing even 16s.
Or 6X.
Exactly. You're throwing 2 and 3X to big bugs, to big Pat's rubber legs, to big hoppers, to big worms or stoneflies or whatever it is, and it's lights out. It's
rip snorting, good time.
Snorting.
And and these fish are moving out of they're moving out of that fast water. They're on the banks. They're not running for cover anymore. They're feeding. They're looking up. I mean, it can be real good.
And I tell everybody every year, they're like, when's the best time to be floating this river? I go, usually March or April, depending on water, or I say last week of June.
What would you say your favorite CFS is on the gunny to fish?
2,700.
2,700?
Yeah.
There you go.
If it can run 2,700, just pump it. Dude, just pump it. I mean, it's bass floats, but if you can work all the water, if you know how to work all the water out of a boat, dude, it's lights out. It's unbelievable. And again, you might catch good green drake hatches, good caddis hatches.
Exactly.
Hopper dropper actions, insane, along the banks, along the seams, along the shelves. Like, everything is lights out.
Well, and I've noticed too, like, again, fish start hanging out exactly where they're going to be hanging out during those
even
flows.
Places that you don't expect them to hang out.
Like what?
There's certain areas where, along the bank where you're like, hey, you know, when I tell you, hey,
Right.
fish tighter, get it tighter to the bank. You're like, dude, I'm 6 inches from the bank. Get it on the
Right.
bank.
I'm talking like
Put it on the bank.
right.
No, I can't cast over there. There's a bunch of willows in the water. Put it on the willows.
Gamble
it. These are expensive days.
Right.
You're gonna lose flies.
Right.
These are expensive days.
And no, you're on small X or large X tippet.
Exactly.
You're on 1,
Push the
2,
limits.
3X6.
But you'll find them in areas that you would never imagine. You'll still find them in the Gunnison is not a pocket water fishery.
No.
It's really not.
No.
But you'll find them hiding in pockets that you're like, this is where fish should hide, you know? And
Right.
you put it there and you're like, boom,
Right.
knew it.
Yeah, places you don't find them all year.
You can fish more instinctual than you ever have when
Right.
the river's running high.
I like that.
You know, you can, and there's so many tributaries that you can float, and so many creeks moving in and out, and so many
True.
braids that you can go hit that nobody's willing to hit, and you can walk to them, and you can go fish them. You can park the boat and go fish,
Right.
and it can be unbelievable. And you're still going to see that top water. You're still going to see hopper dropper action. You're still going to see nymph action. You can see streamer action if that's what you're into. But
Which I am.
and the cool part is you see these creeks that are blown out that are moving into the river, and you can fish those creeks and catch some of the biggest trout
Right.
you won't see in July.
Right.
You won't see in August.
And for the people that don't understand, these creeks are dumping nutrients too. So that's really good places to start finding large fish. That's where these fish are pushing up into, picking off all kinds of nutrient-rich water, insect life, small fish.
Definitely.
These are great places to find big fish.
And again, yeah, it's hard to walk weight them.
yeah,
It can be, but if you can pick your battles and go find certain areas and listen to the High Water podcast, go check it out. But out of a boat, once it hits $3,000,
yeah,
it's coming down from there and it's green. And
Right.
you might be floating under a bridge going, oh, are we gonna make it? Are we gonna make it? Everyone's ducking, everyone's nervous. You'll make it.
and people have had their boats claimed doing it.
Oh yeah, people claim boats every year to it, and it happens. But it's unbelievable fishing,
Yeah,
and it's fishing that most people would never imagine in their lives. Where they go, "I've never fished this way before." And you're like, yeah, it's a lot different.
right.
And your guide's working
Oh,
his ass off
you're
to
back,
get you
you're
on
back
fish.
pedaling your
Oh,
heart
and
out.
$3,000, yeah,
Yeah.
and 2,700, 2,800. You're back rowing hard just to get people the right
Right.
drift. Get it tighter. Cast one more. Put it in the bush. Okay, you made the bush. All right, pull it out. Get it one more. Just get it in there. Slap the water. Stir them up.
Right. No,
Get it in there.
Exactly right.
So yeah, that's my favorite
Yeah.
time to fish.
Yeah.
And nobody's out here, man.
And-
The water. Dude, nobody's floating.
Right. Well, and as Cameron said, it can be tough for the walk waiter, which is how most people conventionally fish. Same thing with the release on the Taylor. For you guys have never fished a Taylor, be very careful. The Taylor will
Yep.
drown you.
Yep.
When
And we can talk about that.
when it's pumping, the Taylor will kill you.
There are people
yeah.
who have drowned on the Taylor.
Yeah. It's a really dangerous, slippery river, and when it's pumping,
Big rocks that are hard to walk on.
yeah, exactly right.
It's very round rocks
It's-
that will grab you,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
just
I
you,
mean,
you slip or whatever. It's very hard to walk the Taylor during that time of year. But another good time of year to fish the Taylor is when it's running
absolutely
800.
right.
When they're pumping 1,500 out of the dam, which I think isn't going to happen this year. I think their max flow is 17. Their max flow is 1,800.
The biggest I've seen is 12.
Their max, I think, is 18.
Have you ever seen 18?
I saw 16, 17.
When did you see 16?
That was 2 years ago.
I thought that was 12. Really? That's a
Yeah.
lot of water.
No,
coming on the Taylor.
I'm okay. Don't quote me then, but I'm pretty sure their max flow is 1,800
Get lowered.
out of the dam. That's at the catch and release.
Yeah, you can fish CNR there, but you got to be. I don't think I'd fish
No.
the lower sections of the.
But even the CNR is terrifying. But you're walking the banks,
Right.
and all the brush and every. Again, don't quote me.
It's the only time you blind cast on
We'll
the,
have
at
to
the CNR.
we'll have to fact check this
Okay.
because I think. I'm probably wrong, but I feel like their max is 1,800.
If you're off, you're only
and
a
I
little
think
bit
they
off
were
anyways.
letting out like 1,750 2 years ago.
Yeah, we won't see that this year.
You don't think?
No.
They've been holding the Taylor. They held it all year last year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll see more than 1,000 CFS on the Taylor.
But in high water at the catch and release.
1,000 CFS on the Taylor is burly.
But at the catch and release.
Can be lights out.
Unbelievable.
It's the only time you get to throw Pat's rubber legs at the CNR.
Or 3X to a Myces shrimp.
3X to a Myces.
That's the only time you could throw 3X to a Myces
Which
shrimp.
the rule books say do not do. And I think we even said do not do in our latest podcast.
But you can.
We did
if
say
you can fit it.
Fish what you can get away with.
If you can fit it through the eye of the hook, put it in there, man.
That's when you're putting that little angle on your tippet trying to thread it through.
Yeah, right. She ain't much, but she runs.
She'll go.
Yeah. And it can be at. We're gonna blow up the CNR. Good. Keep people at the CNR.
Oh, hey, guess what? we're gonna single-handedly blow up the catch and release on the Taylor.
You're right. We ain't blowing up shit.
I fished it -10 this year, and there was 18 guys out. I'm good.
I think I talked about it.
Pretty sure people know about.
I
the CNR.
can't remember who I talked about it with. It might have been Dane. Where I talked about fishing the CNR when it was running. I think it was running like 1,500.
I'd like to see like statistics. What our catch and release looks like versus like the frying pan. What they see. I know the frying pan sees a lot more fishermen over the winter and throughout the course of the year, but I'd be really curious to see how many more people fish the CNR.
I love when they blow the water out of the CNR, though.
It's amazing.
It's just, there's so many bugs coming down. They're blowing out. Yeah. The way I think about it.
Well, and it pushes some of those big fish out from above the wire. Some of those 40-inch fish.
I think I talked about it with Dane maybe, but yeah, going and fishing the CNR when it's blown out, when they're releasing the most amount they possibly can out of it, it's absolutely unbelievable. And I was lucky enough, he's never going to hear this podcast. I think I already talked about it, but I fished with Barry Zito. I guided Barry Zito, who was a Cy Young Award winner.
That's right.
He was a World Series winner pitcher for the San Francisco Giants. Super humble guy. Again, he'll probably never hear this podcast, but
he's too big for us.
We had a great day on the water. Never fly fished in his life, and the dude caught multiple fish that were well over 20 inches. And it was easy pickings, man. You can fish it like a freestone.
Right.
Because it's moving so fast. You're like, dude, just put it in there. They'll eat it, man. There's so many bugs coming down. Instead of doing 1,000 casts per fish, it's a good maybe 20 casts per fish.
Right.
Which is nice.
Right. And you can catch, pre-rainbow spawn. I mean, you go to the CNR and you see people just yoinking
reds.
Yeah, just yoinking fish off reds.
I'm going to grab a beer. You need a beer?
Yeah, I definitely could use a beer. Grab me whatever you're getting.
You keep talking.
Yeah. You see guys down there just yoinking fish off reds. It's not illegal. It's ill-advised. I'd say don't do it just because we want our fisheries to be as healthy as possible. But, you definitely see guys doing it. But this is, for the folks out there that don't know, there is a pre-spawn where the fish are pretty aggressive. They're moving out of that difficult water to fish and into more catchable areas. Definitely a good time of year to start picking these fish off and finding some of those big fish you can't normally access. Always be aware of pre-rainbow spawn, pre-brown spawn in the fall. But right now, we're starting to look at, really big rainbows coming, making themselves known that we hadn't seen them in locations we, haven't seen in a while. So it's really cool this time of year.
I feel like it's a lot easier to spot reds up there, definitely at the Taylor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because it's low, clear water. The Gunnison is a little tough, man. I mean, you got to be careful where you walk, and you notice. Maybe it's just me, but I notice a lot of them, just sitting off shelves, and you might not be able to see those reds.
Well, yeah, I mean, the Gunnison doesn't.
You might know better.
Well, I know a lot about spawning habitat, but on the Gunnison, it's hard to spot spawning habitat. It's hard to spot reds
below the dam.
And we're talking the Gunnison around pre-rainbow spawn, rainbow spawn. The water's off color. So you can't see the bottom of the river in most places.
And most times you're not trudging through the river, though.
Yeah, because it's not safe to.
Yeah.
But on the Taylor, always be really weary when you're walk wading this time of year. Just looking for those rainbows, looking for those reds. Shallow freestone areas. Looking for little divots, basically. in the water, just try to stay away from those. Our rivers do get a lot of pressure, like most rivers in the United States now. Do your
gravel bars,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I mean, gravel
gravel
bars are key.
Yeah.
With little riffles running through, try to stay away from those. And if you see 80 fish sitting in one location, maybe just move on, because they are now spawning.
Right.
And like I said, it's not illegal, so
It's a tough one.
yeah.
We
You
don't-
answer to your own God, and
We don't close anything up here, and
right.
that there's controversy there, but yeah, nothing's closed up here during those spawns, and we might have something to say about it, and I hope that fishermen alike make a movement and quit fishing those, and stay off the reds. And again, the Taylor is one where you can notice it more,
Right.
and the CNR, and we've discussed this before, but everyone should know the Taylor CNR. We got another cat dog situation over here. But everyone in Colorado has probably heard, and a lot of over the country has heard of the Taylor catch and release. And it's a lot more noticeable up there. And so stay away from those areas, because we definitely find people that are what we call raping reds, going up there and pulling fish off of them, and that it's frowned upon. Again, it's not illegal, it's frowned upon, but we want everybody to take in mind, stay away from those, and fight the urge to go and try and catch one of those big ass
And
rainbows.
tell me, folks, I've been there. You're looking at
Same.
two big fish sitting on a red that are easy pickings, easy drift, unaware.
But I wasn't on the cover of a magazine.
Right. I'm not going much further than
That's
that.
fine. I won't go anywhere. I won't go any further either.
We'll leave that alone. You answered to your God. It's not illegal. You can do what you want. But I
Definitely.
can tell you, it sure makes our fisheries healthier if you're letting those fish
I feel like
partake in their natural
we
behavior.
preach a lot.
I don't think we preach that much, do we?
No, I don't know, man. I feel like we're preaching.
I mean, we're telling people what is happening. Fish are spawning.
Well, I
Leave
think
'em
with the podcast, like, we have a lot of people who don't fish a lot as well. We get a lot of beginners.
Right.
Hopefully, we get a lot of beginners
Right, I
who've
hope
never
so.
fished, and hopefully we're not preaching too hard. But hopefully people know these things.
Right. I mean, this is a good.
We don't try to preach.
Right. I mean, this is. Don't tread on me,
Yeah.
says the rainbow trout.
Ooh, there you go. Don't red on me.
Don't red on me.
I don't know if that's a
Actually,
saying.
yeah, don't red on me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
disgusting.
That's not okay.
Actually, I kind of feel like this is a good segue into maybe April Vokey's article she wrote.
About
Just talking about.
continue. Sorry.
Just talking.
I was drawing a blank a minute.
Yeah, just talking about kind of a guide's life. Talking about basically what I'm saying is, I understand that some fishermen aren't stewards. They don't know any better. But this is what I'm talking about, guides. This is where you guys come in. This is where you guys are taking clients out. And you guys fish all year, all types of seasons, pre-rainbow spawn, rainbow spawn. You guys are the ones that are on the forefronts of educating, clients and educating new fishermen on how to behave on the river.
Definitely.
I think it's really important for you guys. Obviously, I'm not a fishing guide. I just work in fisheries. But I think this is a good topic to discuss, like April Vokey talked about in her article. I thought this was a really interesting topic, talking about how you guys are really on the forefronts of stewardship.
We really are. I mean, we're right there. We're on the front lines, and we can make or break a lot of people, and that's a big thing that we have to realize as guides. And I know I have, or trying to promote as much as I possibly can about conservation and leave no trace and blah blah blah, as much as you can to get people involved. And yeah, we're on the front lines, and we have a responsibility that we have to do. Not only are we there to help people catch fish and learn and teach them and do what we need to do, but we need to be there to take somebody who does not have the knowledge that we know and is not in the position that we are in, and be able to teach them how to take care of what we have in front of us.
Right.
Because if we don't, it's not going to be long before we don't have it.
Exactly right.
It's going to be gone, and we're not going to be able to do it. And, you know, Ryan and I talked about this on the podcast that kind of got a little messed up, but
you mean the one that we butchered?
Yeah, we butchered it. But you know, we have that responsibility to take care of our environment, and again, you know, make sure people know why we're all here. You know, being able to pick up trash on the river, being able to treat fish right, being able to respect wildlife, being able to respect our surroundings, all different, and being able to understand everything around us, not just that we're floating a river trying to catch fish. There's a bigger picture.
So much more to it.
And it's really hard at times to get people involved in that.
Right.
You might have the businessman on the boat. You might have the little kid on the boat who doesn't care, who, you know, is just drug along by his parents. You know, you have a huge role to play. And I think that's what Vokey was. If you haven't read our article on the Meat Eater site, we reference the Meat Eater a lot because it is it's an amazing podcast, and it's great what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're
it's something we both listen to.
Definitely.
Often.
Yeah, exactly. And April Vokey put on this, basically she did a 5-part series of, hey, you want to be a guide.
Right.
Here's what you have to think about. And there's a lot of different aspects, but a big one that hit home for me, not only the financial things, but, you know, a big thing that hit home was like, hey, you're there to teach and take care of what you're doing.
Right.
You know, take care of your environment
right.
and teach people to do that. And so if you do have that businessman, if you do have that kid, you have to learn how to hit home with them.
Mm-hmm.
Not only, and some people you're not going to get to.
Right.
And I've learned to realize that you're not going to be able to access everybody.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to change everybody. But if you can realize when you have to take those opportunities to be able to teach, you know, the younger generation
right.
or even the older generation, hey, take care of this shit.
Exactly.
You know, you have to be able to do this.
Right.
You have to be aware of what's going on here. If you don't buy a fishing license, you're not supporting what you're doing today.
Right.
You're not supporting the river. You're
the
not
conservation
of
it.
Exactly. You're
right.
not supporting public lands.
Right.
You're not supporting the act that you are partaking in today.
Right. A fishing license doesn't just buy you the right to fish. It buys a lot more.
Exactly. And that's tough for a lot of people to understand.
Right.
You know, they get pissed for buying an out-of-state license for one day, and it's like, hey, that's not that much money.
Right. Or they upped it. They upped the cost of it.
What's a out-of-state license? One day.
Yeah, I don't know what the out-of-state license is.
I don't think it's much.
No, they won't bust you up. I mean,
No.
it's like I think they did up the price. I think it's like $12.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. $12.
I think it was $8.
Yeah, $12.
Yeah,
That's
this isn't.
nothing.
Yeah, this isn't skiing at Vail for $290 for a
That's
ticket.
nothing.
Right.
And I understand all the prices you pay
Yeah.
to get here and all the prices you pay to take a guide trip.
Right.
We understand that. We get that. That's our economy, though.
Right.
All that money that you give us for a float trip, for a guide trip, that goes back to what we want to do. You know,
Right.
that goes back to our economy. That goes back to public lands.
Right.
We buy hunting licenses with that.
Exactly.
We buy, state park passes with that. We buy not just because you're giving us money doesn't mean we're not putting it to where it needs to go.
Right. This is directly going into paying people's salaries.
It goes a
directly
lot
going
to our
into-
beer fund as well,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it goes into my beer fund.
yeah, it does.
But it directly goes into the conservation of all these wildlife pleasures that everyone enjoys. And if we don't have the money to take care of them, then they don't get taken care of.
And I
how it
think
works.
that's what Vokey was trying to say when she was talking about Hillary Hutchinson, who I think I said that right.
Yeah.
I
think so.
It's not Hutchins. I think it's Hutchinson. Whatever.
Either
But,
way, if we're wrong, we do apologize.
Yeah. But she's a huge part of backcountry hunters and anglers and a huge part of conservation programs. And she realized her role was to protect what she has.
Right.
And to be there for what she has. And that's a huge part of being an outdoorsman, being a fisherman, being a biker, a hiker, anybody who goes outside needs to support these things.
Exactly right.
And again, we're preaching, but April Vokey was trying to, I think, not only inspire people, but give an insight to what a guide is.
Right.
I think that's what we need to stay on. Sorry, we're getting a little preachy again.
No, so
to get to what a guide does.
To stay on the guide train, but get off on a tangent. I fished with my cousin and one of his buddies on the Taylor a couple days ago, and I basically guided his buddy. And obviously it's pro bono for me. I'm not allowed to guide.
Yeah, you shouldn't be doing that. No, I'm kidding. Stealing money from everybody else.
He paid for beers. I don't know.
That works then.
We might have to edit this out.
We're even.
But I did, after even reading this article, I did the number one thing that she said don't do.
It's fish.
I fished. I'm not paid, so I came to fish. I came to fish. I didn't come to just teach. But this guy, he'd made 4 or 5 bad drifts, and I was like telling him like, nope, not there. Little further out to the right, cross bank.
Let me show you how
and
it's
finally
done.
I was like, here, let me just take your hand. And I grabbed his fly rod and I made the cast. And I drifted through the worst water in that drift. And I was like, now just a couple inches behind that drift, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
I didn't rope a fish in his face.
Good for you.
Right. And I picked it up before I got to the good water.
That happens 10 times out of 10 where you try and show a client how to make a good drift and you hook a fish.
Right.
And now you can make or break your client.
Right.
Where they go, all right, my guide's showing me up, or all right, my guide knows what he's doing.
Right. So as a guide, I read this article and I'm thinking, there's got to be a time and a place for everything, right? Like
Definitely is.
So every now and then, so I would say you kind of disagree. Like, yeah, I'm going to take a rod and I'm going to show them.
I'm not going to go fish. It's not like I'm like, hey.
You take a rod, I take a rod, and I just go.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
trash 'em.
Because I've heard guide stories like that where, my buddy Jared, he was out in Texas coast and, they hired a guide and he basically dropped him off in an area and was like, hey, here's everything you need. And he took the boat and bailed and was like, I'll be back in a couple hours.
What?
And he went and fished and bailed. And that's not okay. So there is a time and a place for certain things. But I'm not going to take a rod and just bail. I'm going to,
Well, that's absurd, right?
there's certain times where you're like, hey, I'm going to show you something.
Right.
And either I catch a fish or I don't. And I'm willing to sacrifice a point. This might or break the trip.
Right.
Might make or break.
Well, so I guess an interesting point here is like, all right, so there's a really tough cast, really tough drift.
Let me show you how to make that mend.
Well, and the client's like, well, I can't do it. Can you? So one, you're putting yourself out there. If you can't do it, then now you look like an asshole that can't catch that fish. And two,
There's
if you do catch that
super
fish right in his
fine
face,
line.
right?
Super fine line.
So
Do you
I
trash the water by making a good cast and pulling it out
Right.
before that
Right.
fish eats? Do you trash the water and do that? Or do you let it ride and catch the fish?
Right.
Or do you just show them maybe a little technique how to do it?
Or do you blow it? And then they're like,
do you
oh, this
blow
guy
it?
can't even catch this fish. Like,
It's-
who did I just hire?
It's such a fine line to try and decide
Right.
when do you pick up that rod and cast.
I see her point of view saying,
Never. She basically was like, April, don't touch the rod. You never get to
Right.
fish. You will never fish. You will never cast. You will never do anything.
well, and her perspective is definitely different than ours in that
Well,
you see a lot of fish in
and
a day.
she talks about
She's a
steelheading,
steelheader, right.
where it's like, hey,
That
that
could be the
one
only-
swing
right.
might be the only time we see a fish.
Right.
Where
That makes sense.
We might see 100 fish in a day, and she sees 3.
Right.
There's a lot of difference there, and there's a lot of.
Right.
It's hard because I've definitely had good clients that I've fished with a lot. They go, hey, I want to see you do it. And you go, are you sure?
Right.
You sure you want to see me do it? And they go, yeah, I want to see you do it. And I ask them again, are you sure? Are you sure you want to see me? They go, yeah, let's see it. Boom, fish.
Right.
And you're like, there you go.
They're here.
There was something that you weren't doing, and here, and I tried to tell you. I tried to help you. Here's how you do it. I wanted to show you. Boom, there's a fish.
Right.
They're in there.
But you got to know your audience. You got to know your clientele. You can't just
Definitely.
do that with everyone.
No, you can't.
Because some people you will break their morale.
Oh, yeah.
For a whole day.
Definitely. You'll ruin them.
Right.
And they'll never want to do it again. Like, my guide caught more fish than
Or
I
they'll
did.
never want to fish with you again.
My guide caught more than I did.
Right. My guide's an asshole. He just fished.
But the whole thing is, like, I'm a visual learner. And you have to play off that, how you learn as well. But you also have to pick up how other people learn. And she talks about that in her article too. There's a lot of different clients out there and they all learn differently. And you have to find different ways to teach people. And you have to pick up different ways. You might have the client that doesn't want to listen, that doesn't want to do it. That's a hard ass, that's, strong-headed, hard-headed, that doesn't want to do it your way. And you go, let me show you. I'll show you right now.
Right.
Watch. Here you go.
Right.
Boom, fish. And you're like, listen, you hired me for a reason.
Right. I'm here to teach you how to fish.
I'm here. I know what I'm doing.
Right. I will do this for you.
Yeah.
You will catch fish.
All
if you
you
listen
have to
me.
do is take my instruction and you will catch fish.
If I go to your place of business and start, say he's an architect and I start scribbling all over things, why don't you
exactly?
Why don't I give you the pencil and you draw it?
I don't go to engineers and I'm like, hey, let me tell you how to do your job.
Right.
And sometimes you got to step in and be like, hey, I had a guy. We were fishing dry droppers one day. I probably told this story, but we were fishing dry droppers, and his son in the back of the boat was just wrecking him. Just
in the back of the boat.
Oh, in the back of the boat, just wrecking him. He was listening. It was like, all right, if your dry goes down there, they might be eating that nymph underneath. You set the hook, man. Turn it into a cast. Every time you set the hook, turn it into a cast. Put it
These
right
guys
back down.
both never evers?
They fished a little bit. They knew how to cast a little bit, and they had an idea.
Gotcha. Anyways,
the guy in the front of the boat, every time his dry went down or his hopper went down, he'd go, "Oh, that's bottom. That's bottom. It's got to be bottom."
Well, you'll never know.
And I saw a fish flash, man. I told you to set it, and you didn't set it. There was a fish that flashed, and he'd look at me and go, "Oh, that was bottom. That was bottom." I go, "Okay." And we did this for about an hour. I let him go on,
right?
Missing fish, while his son in the back about is just roping him. He listened to me. Every time that thing goes down, you just set the hook, turn it into a cast, boom, done.
He's
it's
a
easy,
malleable
easy
kid.
as that. Yeah, it was super easy.
Sponging
and
up.
his son was in his 30s. He's an older guy. He knew what he was doing. And so finally, I looked at the dude up front and I said, "All right, next time you think it's bottom, I want you to set the hook.
No matter what.
No matter what. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell you to hit it. I'm not going to tell you to set the hook.
If your hopper goes underwater.
If your hopper, your dry, or anything goes underwater, set the hook. Let's see what happens.
Right.
Even if you think it's bottom, let's just see what happens." And it was a good day. We missed, you have those days where you're like, we could have probably netted 50, 60 fish.
Right.
But, we had one of those days where it was one of the best days you could possibly be out on the river, but the clients just aren't getting it.
Right.
Or maybe I'm not getting it. Maybe I'm not teaching it right. Maybe I'm not doing something right. Who knows? We all got to change up our tactics.
You're not picking the fish up.
But I went, next time you think it's a rock, next time you think it's bottom, set the hook. Let's see what happens. Just for fun, just for fun.
Right.
Why not? It's not going to hurt.
They're my flies.
Yeah, you're not losing any of your money. I'm losing money if you break off. Set the hook. So next time it goes under, I didn't say anything. I just watched. We're fishing a little shallow bank, and he cast it in. I didn't say a word. His hopper goes under. He picks it up. Boom, fish on. And I went, all those times you thought it was bottom,
Right.
I wonder how many fish you would have hooked.
Well, and that's the thing is he finally has that eureka moment, a light bulb. Oh, okay. This is how this works.
Yeah. And you do have those light bulb moments.
Right.
Where with clients, you see it and you're like, boom, light bulb just went on.
Well, it's
They
not
get
just
it now.
Yeah, it's not just the client. It's you.
Exactly. Or you figure out how to teach it right, or you figure out what
Right.
works for them.
Right.
Or I've even walked up to clients girls are really hard, obviously, in this day and age. I always tell them hey, I'm not getting fresh with you. I just want you to feel the cast. I want you to feel how I would cast a rod.
Right.
And I'll hold their hand, behind them, and I'll cast the rod. Hey, you just go limp. Let me cast the rod. And I go, I'm not getting fresh. I don't want to be weird about this. Just feel it. And, you see the light click.
Right.
Where they go, oh. And then all of a sudden the girl's got the best cast on the boat.
Right.
You know, and you're like, you nailed it.
Well, you did that.
Got it.
I watched you do it with my fiance. She won't listen to a word I say when I'm teaching her how to cast.
It was like the first 2 casts, and she hooked into a fish.
And she's roping fish,
yeah.
and she's listening to you. She doesn't listen to me.
Well, no, you can't teach your girlfriend, fiance, wife how to fish or how to ski.
No, you can't.
You can't.
It's got to be a fight.
You got to let somebody else do it. And that's the thing. Like, I have a lot of clients.
She's looking at me, and she knows I'm right.
I have a lot of clients who get on the boat, and these are the best times where, like, you have a husband-wife duo that shows up, and they go, hey, look, I've been fishing before. I know what I'm doing. You're like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. They go, I want you to work on my wife. I want you to teach my wife how to fish. You're like, okay, sure, we'll work with your wife. How about you work on some casting as well, just so you can see? And you're like, all right, you need more work than your wife does. But usually the girls listen more.
Right.
They have nothing to lose.
Right.
There's no pride.
Yeah, the dudes bring ego.
Exactly.
They
There's
bring
no
ego to the boat. Right.
The girls don't give a shit.
Right.
The guys are like, son bitch, my wife's catching more fish than me. It's like, because you don't listen.
Because you're not listening to me. Because you're doing what you want to do.
You want to do whatever you want to do. You sit back there and do whatever you want to do, man. I'm going to teach your wife. That's what you said you came here to do. And then he comes to me and halfway through the trip like, hey, I'm not catching as many fish. I'm like, I'll help you out, buddy.
I got you.
I'll help you out. That's what I'm here for.
Right.
You know, it's like the wife's fine. She's roping him. She's listening. She's doing everything right.
The trick to the male ego is just go ahead and get in the back of the boat if you're the dude. That way, when she's out casting you and out fishing you, you can always say you're in the back of the boat.
Exactly. You got an excuse.
Yeah. So
if you're in the front of the boat and you're not landing fish, then you got there's no excuse.
So you got nothing.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I just suck. That's all you got.
So if you're
got.
If you're in this exact situation, like, I know what I'm doing, just teach my wife.
I like how we're doing the accent too. People can pick up where these people are coming from. These people are Southerners.
Hey man, I know how to catch fish.
Can I bring my Yeti 110?
Nah. And I brought a truck to pull it.
Hold on. We're going off. But no, that's literally how it goes, man. And you get a lot. So I can't remember them all right now, but I have types of clients. And I broke them down a certain way where there's types of clients. There's the businessman. It's on his phone all day. You know, that's the dude.
On the river?
Oh, yeah. The dude is on his phone all day. Like, he'll just put his rod down and grab his phone.
Curse you, Verizon Wireless, and your good service.
Son of a gun. Didn't even say the B word there.
Nice, man.
I've been doing pretty good about that.
You're doing good.
I'm trying to learn. So you got the businessman on the phone all day that's constantly worried about deals going through, and he's got to pull over to check his phone. You got all those guys. Then you got the I've been everywhere, man. You know that I've been everywhere, man. That
I've been that guy, I think, once.
The I've been everywhere, man, is the page Ryan's fiance is cracking up right now. The I've been everywhere, man, is like, oh man, I was in, New Zealand and this dude taught me this. Oh, I went over to Tampa and this guy taught me how to catch tarpon. Oh, I did this.
Bolivia is way different.
Exactly. Oh, I've never fished this way before. I fished a roaring fork one time. This guy never taught me any of this stuff. It's the I've been everywhere, man. He'll tell you everywhere he's ever been in his life, everywhere he's ever fished. You're like, cool. Wish I had the money you did to go.
And he might show you photos.
And he'll probably show you photos. I've been everywhere, man. So you got the businessman. I've been everywhere, man. Trying to pick up on them all right now. You got the drunk. There's always the drunk.
Well, that's how I am when I float with you.
No, it's a little bit different because you actually come to fish. The drunk just shows up to drink. He doesn't give a shit about picking up a fly.
Right.
He's like, how many beers do you think I can polish out before
I want to drink and I want to talk.
Exactly.
And work out some stuff.
He just wants to talk, whether he's alone or with a buddy. You always have the drunk. He's on the boat somewhere.
That's got to be a fun trip for you, though.
It can be
a drunk tip.
Well, you might have to babysit.
Yeah.
You might have to babysit throughout the day. You got the drinker, he just wants to crush 24-pack down the river. And
Could be a liability.
Exactly. It could be a liability. And then there's various types of people, but you're going to see everybody.
Right.
You're going to see all these different kinds of people, but those are the big ones.
Right.
You get the businessman, the I've been everywhere man, the know-it-all. The know-it-all is not the I've been everywhere man.
They're different.
He just knows it all.
Right.
He's going to, back in my day,
Wait, so
we fished a copper john.
Okay. Does the know-it-all bring his own flies that he wants to fish?
Know-it-all can bring his own flies for sure. The know-it-all will definitely. So I have clients that bring flies, but they're not a know-it-all.
Right.
I have really good clients that'll bring their own shit and they do their own thing. You're like, cool, man.
Well,
I'll give you direction. I'll tell you what you should be throwing or what I think you should throw. But they're not know-it-alls. They're just out there.
Right.
They're fly fishermen.
Yeah.
They're not clients almost.
Right.
It's like almost floating with a buddy.
Right.
But the know-it-all is like, like if I were you, I'd be doing this.
Right.
And be like, okay, well, you're not me and you hired me. So how do I work out this situation right now? What am I supposed to do right now? Oh, well, I know this. And one time when I was growing up, we were throwing this and this worked well for us. Do you have any of those?
3 words. Gulp worms.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't have any of those. Sorry. The know-it-all is always going to be there. Like, well, how about we do this? And this is the way I would do it. And I know this and I'm going to do it differently. Like, okay, well, you're not going to catch any fish then.
See, I feel like I'm the drunk that turns into all of those in about 6 hours of a float trip.
I wouldn't say you're the drunk.
I think I go through like
I run
the gambit.
Phases. Yeah, you go through the phases where you're like, all right, first off, I'm the drunk, then I'm the know-it-all, then I'm the I've been everywhere man.
Put your stupid BDE
and then
away.
I'm on my phone. Yeah. Then I'm the businessman for a minute.
The one thing I'm not is on my phone because I have the worst service ever. But
never works. I hate those guys, man. Like, and there's a ton of them, and you could go through you can go through all of them.
But,
Think of the person. Just think of anybody that like you can't stand to be around. Just like you run into somebody, you don't even know them. You just see him in a coffee shop, see him in a restaurant. You're like, I hate that guy. Don't even know him, but I hate that guy. We have them all the time.
Right.
And we have to learn to adapt, and we have to learn to fish with them.
Well, that was one of the interesting things that I read in that article too. She's like, you're not guiding dudes that know how to fish. You're not guiding guys that are super dialed. You're not guiding guys that can make 60-foot casts and mend and do everything. You're guiding the guys that probably actually, one, could give a shit about ever fishing again, and 2, are just fishing on a boat for the novelty of fishing.
The other one is the old man.
Oh, so there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I got a whole list.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I got a whole list. I don't have it in front of me, but I definitely have it written down. We'll have to go over these again because I have it written down to like every species of client, or like into the genus and everything. Like, where do these guys come from?
Genus,
where do
species,
where do they usually come from? Is it Texas? Is it Oklahoma? Is it New Jersey? Is it this place? Is it this place? I have it broken down to like a T. I have a whole chart of all these people, but you get the old guy, the old timer. He can be the know-it-all at times. They all go through different phases, like you said.
Yeah, and you see variances of everything.
Oh yeah, but I've had the old timers too that like don't give a shit. Or like they sit down all day, they won't stand up. They're like, nope, don't need to stand up. They're like, okay. Catch a couple fish, and they put the rod away, and they just start talking. And you're like, all right, this guy just wants to talk. He needs to get away from something, and he needed a boat ride today.
Right.
And he wanted somebody to talk to. He's, the way we can equivalent it to is like going to the bar alone.
Right.
Or like, I'm looking for somebody to talk to. It's like I gave you a Budweiser. I don't know where yours went.
You gave me a Budweiser. Oh, Paige, my fiance went and collected all the
spitters.
All the spit bottles.
You got a can.
I don't like spitting in a can.
Neither do I. It's obnoxious. But the old timer's fun, man. You you get these old guys that crack you up and, like, oh, well, back in my day. And you're like, all right, cool, bud. And they catch a couple fish and they're like, all right, I'm done. Like, let's move on.
Right.
And you're like, cool. And they just start chit-chatting, start talking about things. And you're like, all right, here's my time to listen. And April Vokey did have a good quote. I have it written down somewhere.
Or was it a guy rack?
It's a guy rack quote. But it's the only difference between...
Is it guy rack?
I think it's guy rack.
I need to give guy rack a call. And
you know him?
Yeah,
you got his phone number?
Good old guy rack.
But it's the only difference between a fishing guide and a psychiatrist is a psychiatrist can prescribe drugs. That's the only difference.
Hey, you are a Colorado guide.
Yeah. I can prescribe certain drugs. You grabbing beers? Perfect. But yeah, it's true, man. I've had a lot of people on the boat that just want to talk, that just want to BS, that just want to shoot the shit and just learn and just, talk about nonsense. And that's good. That's what you're there for. You're not there just to catch fish all the time. You're a friend. You're a confidant. You're somebody, these people never have to meet you again if they don't want to.
Right.
And they can tell you whatever they want to tell you. I had an old guy on the boat, and I didn't figure it out till about halfway through the trip, maybe 3/4 way through the trip. I kept pushing this guy to fish. Be like, hey, this is a good hole. You should fish this. You can fish this. You should fish this. All right, you should put a cast in there. Come on, man. Come on. Like, let's do this, man. Like, we're catching fish. And he'd be like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. This guy started talking. And he just kept talking, man. He's just an older dude that, we got towards the takeout. And it clicked. Where I went, this guy wasn't here to fish.
Yeah.
This guy didn't want to fish. He just wanted to be on the river, catch a couple fish, and be done with it.
I guarantee.
But not be done with it. He just wanted to hang out.
Right. I guarantee you're way cheaper than a psychiatrist.
Exactly.
I guarantee you.
Oh, yeah. By the hour? Totally, dude. That was one day.
You're probably like $100 cheaper.
We got to the takeout, and this guy goes, we're really done? I was like, yeah, unfortunately, we're done, man. He goes, well, we got some fish in. I was like, yeah, we did. And that was it.
Yeah, and he'll probably talk about the fishing.
Exactly.
Not about the talking.
No, and it's like, as a guide, you sit there and you're like, son of a bitch, this fishing is so good right now. Yeah. And this guy doesn't even want to fish.
That's
whatever. That's what you do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I feel like for you and for guides out there. Like, you're not just there to catch fish. Sometimes you're just rowing a boat. Sometimes you're just listening. Sometimes you're picking windies all day, and that's all you're doing.
Well, and did we get clients from, like I said, all natures?
Walks of life.
Yeah, exactly. All walks of life. From anywhere, they might have problems, they might not. Who knows why they got this trip? Maybe it's a vacation, maybe it's business, maybe it's this, maybe it's that.
Maybe their wife bought it for them just to get them out of the house.
Exactly. Maybe they knew, maybe the wife knew, hey, this guy's been talking about this for years and he wants to go float the river. And you get people that look up, and when you finally see them look up at the river instead of looking at their flies all day.
Right.
And I try and push that more. I've been learning, this is all learning how to be a guide and learning different things and learning what you love. And sometimes I just tell people hey, look up for a minute. Take a moment. Yeah, take a moment and see what we're doing right now.
You hear a bald eagle chirping and...
We're floating a river right now. Right. And we got rock, we got nature, we got eagles, we got, all kinds of wildlife all around us. And just nature, just the world.
Right. Mother Nature does tend to make an appearance on the river.
You get I got another one I just came up with, but you get the God's creations. You get the religious guys. And they'll look at you and they go, man, can you believe this? And you're like, what do you mean, man? Like, yeah. What do you mean? You're like, can you believe God created all this? And this isn't a religious podcast, but it's the way it goes. You got a lot of people who say that, like, can you believe God created all this for us? And then they look at you and they go, you religious man? And the one thing I tell everybody, I say there's 2 things that don't belong on the river or at the bar, and that's politics and religion. And we don't need to discuss that right now.
Yeah.
You can mesmerize all you want and think about all you want, but there's a couple things that don't belong on this boat, and that's politics and religion.
Also, yeah, your God made a beautiful river.
We'll put it that way. Yeah, your God did it.
You answered.
This isn't religious. We're not, but
No,
it just doesn't belong. There's no point. And I've had people get in arguments about it,
right,
about religion and politics on the boat, and I go, look, I don't discuss it on the boat, and I won't discuss it at the bar.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have a beer with you and discuss it either.
Hell no.
No, because it's only gonna get worse.
Well,
but I'm trapped with him on a boat. It's like. You got to set a precedent and be like, no, we're not talking about it.
You don't ever just grin and bear it?
I listen to people. Most of the time I listen. I don't say that all the time. Most of the time I listen.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, I'll listen to what you got to say. I'll listen. And they go, what do you think about it? And I go, I think you got a great thought.
Yeah.
I think you got a great mindset.
That's an awesome perspective you have.
You have to. Because
Right.
if you get into it with them, it just gets worse.
No, I mean, it just doesn't do either of you any good.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Right. Are you going to preach your ideals on the river? The only thing that you need...
Oh, they try.
Right.
They try.
Oh, I'm sure you have people that try to bring it out of you, too.
Oh, yeah. But it's like I said, it's not the time or place, man.
Yeah.
There can be another time or place for it, but you do have those people, and, again, we can go back where it's like, yeah, I appreciate everything I have in front of me, but,
Right.
The way I think about it is I do this. I put the money forth, and I make it the way it is.
Right.
And I'm going to keep it this way.
Right. This is my ship. This is how I run it.
And I'm going to keep this river the way it is by protecting it and doing everything I can.
Right.
That's the way you can come back full circle to it.
Right.
Protect it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah.
But no, her article, we went on some tangents there, but her article was great. And we can talk about the financial stability of it too. I mean, dude, it ain't easy being a mountain man.
Yeah.
Especially with a 4-cylinder.
I don't know, man. I have a V6.
Got it right this time. I said a 6-cylinder last time.
I think you screwed it up. Actually, it's pretty easy to be a mountain man.
No, it ain't easy being a mountain man with a 4-cylinder.
Hard to be a mountain man with the straight 6.
It ain't easy being a fishing guy. We'll put it that way. And she talks about the financial stabilities, which is good in her article, April Vokey's article.
Well, I mean, do you mind if we get a little personal with it?
Yeah, let's go.
Since we're going to send it?
Let's go.
How did last year, poor fishing year, poor river year, affect you this year?
It's tough. We worked a lot, but we didn't work as much as we had.
Right.
And the times we did work, we didn't want to work.
Right.
Because of how low the river was. It was a struggle for every guy to be on the river every day. And we didn't want to be there because we knew we were hurting our ecosystem.
Right.
By being there.
Right. But you knew the clients were there and they were going to fish regardless.
You have to. I mean, it's a moral dilemma. Do we fish? Do we not fish?
Right.
What do we do here?
Right. The only way you don't fish is if something gets incorporated and says, yeah, you cannot fish, period.
And, as guides, we tried. We tried to shut it down.
Yeah, I remember that.
We tried to shut down the river as guides. You
guys were trying to incorporate the hoot owl?
Yep. We tried to incorporate hoot owl, and basically what hoot owl is there's no fishing from 2 p.m. to midnight. And Montana incorporates that on their rivers when it's low water. And basically that's when the river gets above 63 degrees for, I think it's maybe 5 days in a row. It hits 63 degrees. They shut it down and they do hoot owl restrictions. And we tried. And we contacted authorities as guides. We knew it was going to hurt our bank accounts. We knew it was going to hurt our wallets. And we tried to do whatever we could because we know that we have to live on this river for 5 months out of the year, 4 or 5 months out of the year,
exactly.
And work on it for 4 or 5 months out of the year. And we knew that if we kept fishing it the way we did. And, I mean, we did.
And the fishing was good.
The fishing was really good, and that was the hard part.
Right.
Is the fishing was so good, but, I mean, at noon, you'd see 65 degrees.
Right.
In the water temp.
Yeah.
That was the first year I ever bought a thermometer and went, I need to keep up on this, and I need to check water temperatures throughout the day.
We had talked about it. I'm like, yeah, you need to know. And you were telling me, like, yeah, you're like, down where Tamichi's dumping out 65. And I was like, no.
Dude, never really? Sink. I mean, the lower Gunnison below Tamichi would have hit 65 degrees by noon. By noon.
All right.
Every day.
All right. And it's easy to find fish because they can only be in so many places.
And they're hungry, and it's, it was hard, and it was a huge moral thing. And if it had been shut down, we would have accepted it.
Right.
But because it wasn't, we had to do what we had to do, and we started trips earlier. We ended earlier, because we knew what was going to happen, and that was a really hard thing for a lot of us guys to come to, but we were all ready for it to be shut down.
Right.
That was the worst year we've seen in over a decade.
Right.
And we were all ready to go, yep, call it quits, shut it down.
Right.
And we're going to take the hit in our wallets.
I mean, the long-term gain is far more important than short-term.
Exactly. And that was tough. Like I said, I won't name any, but we contacted authorities and we wanted it to be shut down. And nobody would listen, and everybody thought it was okay. And in my mind, it wasn't.
Right.
And that's my perspective. And I bet if you talk to, I bet 9 out of 10 guides would tell you the same thing.
Right.
That they weren't okay with it.
Right.
And they weren't okay with what we did. And they weren't okay with last year how it went.
Right. But don't, just to play devil's advocate here, don't you think it's better that you guys are guiding people, handling fish for people, teaching people how to handle fish in these low water situations rather than going out there and taking matters into their own hands?
For sure. Yeah. But you know how the Gunnison was the busiest I've ever seen it this year. And there was a lot of people who probably didn't handle fish correctly.
Oh, of course not.
And there was,
I saw more dead fish on the Gunnison than I'd ever seen in my life.
20 boats floating down a 6-mile stretch every day probably killed more fish than you could imagine.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you saw them. It was carnage.
You don't think that plays a role? I think it plays a role. I think us guys play a huge role. And we tried to do the best we could. We tried to, it's like the money kept coming. And it was hard to, hard to turn down at the time when it wasn't closed,
and if you're not guiding them, someone else is going to.
Exactly.
They're going to find someone.
They're going to go somewhere else, and they're going to fish.
So the best thing
people got to fish.
Yeah, the best thing you can do is take them.
Try to do it right. Right. Try to do it right, and try and teach people right, and try and end early. Try and start early.
Right. No gripping grins, just
exactly. It was like, look, if you catch a 25-inch fish, we'll try and do something. But it's like. It was tough, man. And it was really hard for clients as well, to deal with it. And it was really hard on guides' morale. It was really hard on us physically. It was hard on our boats. It was hard on all of our gear. It was hard on everything, man. Right. I mean, it was an expensive year for us.
Right.
So we had to get the money, when it was coming in. But looking back, it's like, I wouldn't have changed it. I would have done the same thing I did.
Right.
I got to survive.
Right. You're a fishing guide.
Yeah, got to survive. But also looking back, if it would have been changed, if we would have had hoot owl restrictions, I would have abided.
Obviously.
Of course.
Right.
I would have done everything I can to protect our fishery. And you know what? Maybe I'm not a biologist. I have no idea. I don't study the river every day. I don't see all these things.
Well, you are a biologist in a sense.
In a sense. But I can see the effect already.
Yeah, that was my next question. Are you seeing a result this year from last year?
I think I can say, I'm trying to think of a word. I think I can say pretty positively that there was an effect. And just the fish you are catching nowadays there's some fish out there that are healthy and that, did well. And then there's a lot of fish who did not do well. And you can see that.
Right.
You can see that in their actions when you do catch them or hook them, very lethargic, very out, just not there.
Right.
And just malnourished. And you can tell, like, hey, this fish survived from last year.
Right.
And he's not doing so hot.
Right.
And it's a bummer, when you do catch them.
Right.
Where you look at him and you go, shit, like, pretty bummed about this.
Right. And this fish, even during peak season, great water, you can see that there's, fin degradation. You can see that they might have fungus on them.
Exactly.
Like you can see all these long-term effects from last year, from one poor water season. It could be really hard on these fish.
Definitely. And I don't think people think about that. And that's really tough. Like, in my mind, that's really tough to comprehend.
Right.
It's really hard to comprehend that people don't think about it the way, there's definitely some guides out there that probably don't think about it like this. Definitely.
Right.
Throughout the country, not just here in Colorado, not just here in the Gunnison Valley.
Right.
But the ones who do, they got it.
Right.
You're like, all right, you actually are invested in this river. You actually care. And you want everything to be right.
Right.
And that's...
Well, you can see, those guys, you see them all day. You run into them at Walmart, you talk to them all the time.
And we'd all run into each other like, geez, can you believe this?
Yeah.
Can you believe we're actually floating right now?
Right.
Can you believe I actually running trips? We're like, nope, can't believe it. Don't know why we're doing it.
Right. But
I have no idea.
You got clients.
But the money's there, and it's hard to, like, financially. Okay, so we were talking about financials.
Yeah, to get back on task here.
It's not, and April Vokey put it pretty well for sure, where it's not a luxurious life. The way I tell people, I go, I'm rich for 3 months out of the year. And rich to me
right.
is my bank account has a couple digits in it. Like my bank account has 4 digits in it, which is nice.
Right.
You got a couple grand in there. That's rich to me. But it's not the luxurious life. You really have to want to be a fishing guide. If I can figure it out where I can make $40K a year being a fishing guide, I love it. And I'm trying. I want that.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be great. I want a guide. I want to do that. I want to be able to make money doing it. But it's hard.
Right.
It's not easy. And a lot of people become a fishing guide and they go, like April Vokey said, oh, sweet, I get to fish. I get to fish all the time.
Right.
I get to take people down the river. I get to fish. I get to do this. You don't.
Nope.
You don't get to do that.
Right.
You work nonstop. It's even after work, even after you take your boat out of the water, you're cleaning your boat, you're tying flies, you're getting lunches ready, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like, it's nonstop work.
Right.
It never ends during the summer.
Right.
And unfortunately, that's all I have is the summer to make ends meet.
Right. And I can
try and make a positive year out of it.
Well, and I see you frothing too. Like you've guided all day long, and then you call me like, "Hey, you want to do an evening float? I'd love to fish."
Yeah. Like, I'd love to get a couple casts in,
Right.
But like, I float you down the river, and even on the days that I have off, I offer to float people down the river because I'm still, I need to have that intel.
Right.
I need to watch people fish. I need to try different bugs. I need people floating the river. I need people fishing in front of my boat.
It's all R&D.
It is, and that's the tough part. I rarely get to fish. Like,
Right.
this is. I told somebody at the restaurant the other night. Came good dude, fishing guy. You might have met him, Dave Bergman.
I know it is.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. One of Nick Danny's buddies.
Mm-hmm.
But comes into the back of the house, into the kitchen, and he's bullshitting with me. He's a little tuned up, and we're talking, and wants me to tie some flies for him, and he's like, man, like, I'd love to float you down the river. And I told him, I go, Bergie, there's not many times I get to fish, man. I get to fish right now,
Right.
and I get to fish during a runoff, and that's it.
Right.
Once runoff is done, I don't get to fish.
No.
And I'm floating people down the river. Once fall hits,
Back at it.
I'm back at it, and I'm hunting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like I got other priorities, and she talks about that too. I've met a lot of guys where they go, guiding ruined fishing for me.
Right.
If I ever get to the point where guiding ruins my fishing, I want you to sit me down and tell me, like, hey, you need to quit right now.
Right.
You need to stop and find something else to do. Go pound nails.
Right.
Go do whatever you need to do, because you are not who you need to be.
Well, and that's the whole thing too. Is guiding is not fishing.
No.
Guiding is watching other people kiss your girlfriend
Yeah.
all day long.
Here's how a good buddy of mine, and I kind of stole the quote, but a good buddy of mine, Kurt, you met Kurt. He put it this way.
We
He
need to get
goes,
Kurt on.
we do. We're gonna have Kurt on one of these days. He agreed to it. But,
Fly shop shenanigans by Kurt.
Right.
I really want to get him on for that one.
Kurt broke it down to me this way. He goes, fish guiding is a lot like watching somebody else have sex with your girlfriend. And they're doing it completely wrong, and they don't know how to get her off. But all you have to do is sit there and watch and tell them how to do it. And you can't step in. You can't show them how to do it. You just sit and watch and try and tell them how to do it. And he nailed it. It's like, yep, you're right. I watch people fish in the front of my boat every day, and that's my girlfriend, you know? Like, I know how to do it, but all I can do is sit here and tell you how. I can't step in. You just got to do it on your own and trying to learn how to get her off.
So basically what you're saying is you're just a mattress.
Yeah. Basically. I sit there and just take all the blows. I'm stained. I'm worn out. I'm not even, dude. I'm not even. I can't think about like the 60-year-olds who are still guiding. Like, I'm not even stained or worn out.
You heard it from here, folks. Cameron is just a big, not so worn out 7-year-old mattress.
Yeah, exactly. I'm here, but
in a college dormitory.
But it is. I mean, dude, you have to watch people all the time and do something you love, you know, and
Right.
that you're good at.
Right.
And you have to just sit there and watch.
I mean, nothing's more frustrating, and I do have personal experience putting people onto like a big fish, and they hook that fish and just watch them
tank.
It's too late to teach them how to
Yeah.
land that fish. That fish is lost.
And that's where, like,
that fish is gone.
as a guide, if you hook into a big fish, that's when your guide starts getting serious and starts yelling at you a little bit, like, punch your rod to your left, high, strip, reel. You know, and you're just yelling. And they're like, wow, you got really serious. You're like, yeah, that was a big fish, dude.
Yeah.
I'm living vicariously
Yeah.
through you.
Yeah.
If you land that fish, I landed that fish.
Right.
I caught that fish.
That was for us.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to. All I got to do was yell instruction, and
Exactly. I just
couldn't-
got to yell at you, and I couldn't grab the rod. I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't
It's
do.
that is frustrating.
It is, and you have to watch it, and you
Right.
watch a lot of big fish get broken
Yeah.
off for dumb reasons that you're like, I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
That wouldn't have happened that way. But it happens.
Right. That being said, we do lose big fish all the time as fishermen, as experienced fishermen. It's really frustrating when you do, because it's a
What could I have done differently?
right,
How could I have fixed that?
right, and you get better and better at it. But for
Thrown 2X.
Right.
That's what I could have done. Could have
Not-
changed that.
why did I put 6X on this? So stupid.
Jesus. Did you see that picture I sent you today? One of he guides at Three Rivers. He sent me a picture today of 10X. Did you get that picture I sent you?
10X?
10X.
What does 10X even look like?
Trout hunter 10X.
Oh, that's what you sent me. I did see that photo.
And
that's right.
he's in France right now. He's a chef. And he goes, apparently this is what people fish down here.
Well, that's probably why the Europeans are out fishing us in the tournament.
Maybe, man.
Like, I'm pretty sure U.S. doesn't really.
I've heard that Euro
well.
nymphing's pretty insane.
Well, I just bought a 10-footer.
Oh, there you go. Now you need to get a 0 weight 10-foot
I'm
and just high stick all day.
Well,
apparently they trash them, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never done it.
Well, I don't know.
I've never seen anybody who's good at it.
Right.
I've seen people try, and you're like, I don't think that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Right. I've talked to guys that are good at it. I've never fished with them. Like Garduño, he's a good check nympher. The biologist down in Montrose. I know he's a good check nympher. So,
but it's like,
but he won't give me any information.
There's different flies. There's all this. It's like, why? I don't get it.
Oh, what's
the difference?
I just tied a bunch of leaders.
What's the difference? Somebody email us and tell me what's the difference.
Or just write
between taking a high stick or a check nympher to, a nympher.
Right.
Write in and tell me, because I want to know.
I mean, I've done it at the CNR because I could see my fly and I put it right in the bread
It's completely different.
Yeah. But they're fishing fast riffles.
We still have an indicator on, but the indicator is basically for our distance.
Right.
We're not using it.
Right.
Are we check nymphing?
No, we're not check nymphing.
Then can you check nymph at the CNR?
Yeah.
And do well?
Oh, yeah. I think that's the best way to do it.
What the hell are we doing then?
Well, I've been check nymphing at the CNR.
Have I not?
Well, no, you use an indicator.
You don't use an indicator?
I mean, I do, but I'll just pick up my flies and negate the indicator and swing it.
Do you have weight on there, or are they just weighted flies?
Yeah, I use weight.
Are you doing it right?
No, of course I'm not doing it right. But I'm catching 3 more fish than I normally do.
Do you have a 10-foot 2 weight?
I do. It's in a box.
I never break it up. I mean, okay.
My 10-footer's a BVK, which is
look. I know
just
these
too
guys
big.
are well, but I don't understand it.
No,
I have no way of understanding it. And so, like I said, somebody needs to write in and tell me how to understand it.
Yeah, I've read so much on the topic. But my issue isn't literature. My issue is experience. You can read all day long till the cows come home, but at the end of the day, you gotta go out and do it. But when you go out and do this and you have no idea what you're doing, it doesn't really help you very much, You can buy a $5,000 boat. You can buy a $10,000 boat. You can buy an oar rig. You can buy all these things and then go float the Arkansas without any instruction. You're gonna freaking swim. You're not gonna make it. It's not gonna work for you. You need someone out there that's showing you how to do it. And unfortunately, I just don't really know how to do it. And like I said, I've read all the literature. I've even I bought all this new 10-pound, 20-pound, 15-pound Maxima. I'm building all these Spanish, French leaders. I don't know how to fish any of them. So
yeah, but for why? Why are you doing that?
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I'm freaking insane, man, and I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm a fly fisherman.
Here's what I want to do. I
want
to take one of those little 16-year-olds that enters all these competitions and does all these, fly fishing competitions. Take one of them and be like, all right, here's what we need to do. We need to fish side by side or just fish the same hole.
Right.
But there's no way of comparing that because one person fishes a hole, they could fish it out really quick.
Right.
It's like, how do we compare the two?
Right.
Does my indicator do better than your check nymph? I don't know.
Right. Well,
I don't think it's good out of a boat. You don't see any of them doing it out of a boat.
No. It's just like spay casting. You don't spay cast from a boat. You take a boat and then you go to an area where you can do it.
Like I said, somebody needs to write in and be like, hey, you're a fool. This is how you do it.
Oh, and I know it's effective. But, for instance, I was fishing with a buddy the other day that, he's a good fisherman, really good fisherman. But he puts a lot of stock into what other people say versus like
that's stupid.
versus like a lot of it, no experience. Like he's like, oh well, if I
people
had,
tell me to do this,
right? If
this
I had,
is what I've
if
heard.
I have Evan, whatever, from the U.S. fishing team, if he was right here, he would have caught 20 fish. I'm like, nah, I don't think he would have. You know,
that's the thing.
this
man.
is after we had a 2-fish day on the Arkansas. Well, I caught 2 fish. Him and his son caught 0, but.
And it's like, I don't take no for an answer. If I'm not catching fish and I'm like, all right, there's something wrong.
Right.
Yeah, maybe there's, climate stuff going on. Maybe there's a storm coming in.
Right.
Maybe there's barometric pressure, blah, blah, blah. Like today is like, I didn't catch that many fish that I expected to catch. There's a storm coming in, it's snowing now.
Right.
But I don't take no for an answer. I really don't. And I never have. It's like, if I'm not catching fish, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I do, man.
I mean, I have days like that where I'm like, it's just.
I don't do that at Pleasure Park.
Oh.
There's no way. I'm like, whatever. It's Pleasure Park. I don't care if I'm not catching fish. That's usually how it goes down there. There's days I have that.
Right. Where you just feel like, you know what? Well, and you ask the question.
But
you're
if I go to sorry, go ahead.
No, you're sitting there and you've had, you worked your tail off. You changed out every rig you can think of. You fished every different tactic you could work out. I mean, you threw every single thing under the sun that you knew that should work, and you come out with a 3-fish day. You even pump stomachs, and you fish what the fish were eating. You're still not catching fish. There's these days.
Else.
Well, there's got to be those days.
There's got to be weight. There's got to be depth. Right. There's got to be something that's not right. But in my head. Right. In my head.
Exactly. And this is when I'm asking the question. Like, all right, if I'm fishing next to, Landon Meyer, Charlie Daniel, Pat Dorsey, whatever. Yeah. I mean, are these guys out fishing me today? Like, I just don't know.
No.
But these
because
are when
we've outfished them.
Right. I mean, we've outfished them in some places, but I mean, I will go ahead and assume these guys are better fishermen.
They know what they're
than
doing.
me.
Yes.
In fact, I know for a fact they're better fishermen than me. I would never even claim otherwise.
No, never.
I'm a good fisherman. I'm not a great fisherman, and I'm not there yet.
But it's one of those things like, okay, like your home water,
that's
home
the question.
hole.
That's the question I'm asking. Like, would these guys be picking up? Would these guys be having a 15-fish day on my 3-fish day?
Okay, let's say this too. Like, you go to your best spot. Like, you always pick up fish there. You know the whole well. You know where all the fish hide. You know the bugs. You know everything. You pick up, let's say you pick up 6 fish, okay? And then you put one of these Euro check niffers in there. Do you think they're going to do better? Like, give you an hour.
Right.
And you pick up 6 fish in an hour.
Right.
Let's say that. Do you think one of these dudes is going to come in and just be like, and just rope them?
I don't know.
I don't think so. It's hard for me to believe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. I'd
like to watch him throw a dry fly. This is what I want to see.
Right.
I have no idea. That's what I'm saying. If somebody has something to say, like, you idiots, here's how you Euro nymph, here's how you check nymph. Yeah, they're way better than throwing an indicator. Tell me. I want to hear.
And I would love.
I want to hear about it.
Like I said, I would love to sit next to these competitive fishermen.
I know they're good because I fished with Noel the other day, and like one of our buddies, we're planning on having. We keep telling you guys we're going to plan on having people on the podcast. We're working on it.
Turns out winter's busier than you think.
Yeah, we're working on it. But I fished with our buddy Noel the other day, and he was telling me, he's like,
shout out to Noel. I miss that.
Yeah,
guy.
I miss Noel. It was fun fishing with him the other day. I haven't fished with him in a while.
I was jealous.
It was a good time.
And a hell of a fisherman, too.
He is, man. And it was a good time. And, we had some fun, which was the best part about it, that we just had a good time on the river. And fishing was pretty good. But, like he was telling me, he goes, have you ever seen these check nymphers, these Euro nymphers? I was like, man, I've never seen anybody who can do it good.
Right.
Obviously, I've seen videos, I've seen people do it, but I've never witnessed in person somebody who can do it well. And he goes, dude, those guys rope them. Like, it's unbelievable to watch these people just rope them. You're like, why? What's the difference?
Right.
What's the difference? And he goes, I don't know what it is, but they just hammer them. But it's like, you can high stick an indicator rig indicator doesn't even have to be on the water. Are you check niffing if your indicator's not on the water?
Yeah, but when you're check niffing, you're using different flies, weighted flies.
Yeah, but why? I'm still using weighted flies.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
Let's put it this way. See, I don't know. If my indicator is not on the water, let's say I'm high stick and I still have an indicator on my line.
Yeah.
Am I check niffing?
Yeah, that's check niffing. For sure. I mean, I think that's the definition of check niffing.
But I still have an indicator on there.
I also don't know.
But if I drop that line, now all of a sudden my indicator's on the water, I'm no longer check niffing.
Well, these tournament guys, they're not allowed to fish indicators, right? That's illegal.
I don't know.
Is it illegal because indicators
Don't
are
ask
actually
me.
more effective?
Don't ask exactly. Is it more effective to have an indicator, or do they have? Are they dragging their flies?
Right.
Are they pulling them?
Right.
What is it?
Are they foul
I
hooking?
pull my flies all the time.
Are they foul hooking fish?
Yeah, but they got a judge there.
Yeah.
That's in there. Like, are you saying they're foul hooking them, just pulling it into their mouths?
I don't know.
They see a fish and they're just pulling it into their mouths, but they don't have an indicator on, so it's right.
I don't know.
What are you saying? See, we don't know.
No clue. And
maybe we should do some research.
Also, I'm not.
We're
saying,
going off on some shit.
I'm also saying
like,
check nippers do not foul hook fish in the mouth. I'm not accusing them of that.
How
saying,
can you foul hook a fish in the mouth?
I've done it at CNR when I've gotten frustrated.
But you got lucky that it was foul hooked in the mouth.
No, I watched it.
Like, but what's the difference? You know. What's the difference? I high stick all the time, and I pull flies through holes, and I hook fish. If I swing a fly, I'm not watching my indicator.
I mean, we have a certain secret hole we're going to be fishing really soon that you do fish that tactic.
I can't think of it.
Well, I'm not going to say it out loud.
That's fine. I'm trying to think, but nothing's come to mind.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it out loud.
I know.
This one's near and dear to my heart, so I can't say it out loud.
I think I know.
Also, I despise people that do that. Like, oh, I know something you don't know. I just did that. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
No, you're not an asshole. We can't give too much up.
Well, I think there's one thing we won't do is give up spots. We'll talk about the Gunnison. We'll talk about Taylor. We'll talk about the East. We'll talk about major rivers. The creeks.
There's things you should know about us.
Yeah.
We're not going to give up.
The creeks you earn.
And if you've listened to all these podcasts, which I don't know how many people have, but well, I actually do. I have a good number.
We know exactly that not too.
I know. I know the exact number of people who have listened to these podcasts, but we don't give up shit. We're not going to sell anybody out. We might say some things that are controversial about people or about places.
If you know it's you, then it's probably you.
Yeah.
But we're not going to blow anyone up. We're not going to use names.
And we don't blow up spots.
No.
There's no point.
No.
Because we live up here.
God, there's so few secrets anyways.
With Google Maps, on X, there's like you can't go anywhere anymore.
Just got on X.
I was not listening. I was looking at on X today, and some hunting spots that I want to go hunt this year, and I was like, man, people never had this back in the day. They didn't know where private was. They didn't know where all these roads were. They didn't know any of this. And now you can look at fishing spots and do the same thing. You're like, oh, I know how to get to that now.
Right. Wow.
It's unbelievable that you can get to some of these fishing spots. And we've been down fishing spots that, like, before Google Maps, before OnX, where I've taken these spots and been like, hey, I know this from experience.
Right.
Don't drive down this road.
Right.
This is where you need to park your truck. You're going to get stuck if you drive down this road, and you're going to have to get towed out. And it's going to be an expensive tow because we're like 8 miles in.
I don't even know how you get towed out of there.
There's no way to get. You know what I'm talking about. There's no way to get towed out of there.
I think
I drove it with a 4-wheeler, and we almost flipped a 4-wheeler.
That place is lethal.
But there's tons of spots like that where it's like. But here's the thing. Jared has explained this to me, where he goes, even with OnX, even with Google Maps, even with everything that you see on social media, everything these days, how many people want to work for it?
Right.
Not many.
Right.
Not many people. They might see it and go, oh, that's a cool spot, and they might tell somebody else about it. But how many people want to work for it?
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Well, and those are the only spots that are still pure. those are the spots that, even though people still don't go. And we've had days where we're like,
Yeah.
your truck or mine, I don't want to take my truck in there.
Oh, and I'll take my truck every day.
Yeah, that's why I need you.
Let's roll it. Let's get in some insurance.
My
But
truck's not worth as much anymore.
I mean, that's what it is. It's like, hey, if I'm willing to go to these spots, I'm going to work for them, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to have to hike in from a certain area, and I'm going to have to do this, but it is cool because you can find certain spots on NX, that
Right.
you might not have ever seen before.
True.
And you can go, whoa, I want to check that area out. Like the hunting spot I just found, I was hanging out with Jared, and I go, dude, we need to go up here in the summer and go fish some of these creeks.
Right.
We need to go scout and go fish these creeks and just go check them out.
That's the thing. Just, you got to go far. I mean, do you know how many dry riverbeds I've hiked?
Far, though.
I've hiked probably 20, 30 dry riverbeds that just looked good topographically. That were just a bust.
Dude, you get worn out and you just get beat up, and you just back in the day, I just remember, there's a lot of our generation that aren't going to remember looking at maps.
Right.
Dude, I grew up on a gazetteer, however you say it.
Gazetteer, you got it right.
I say gazetteer.
We live at the hatchery by the gazetteer.
Gazetteer. Yeah, all right, we'll say gazetteer. I say gazetteer.
Well, that's definitely incorrect.
But I remember growing up on the gazetteer.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, hey, find all the water you can find me the roads. Like, I was the co-pilot, I'd sit there on the gazetteer and look for water, look for roads, look for anything that nobody has touched before.
Straight up.
And now it's not going to be that way
anymore. You should
anymore.
see my gazetteer.
This is great podcast, by the way. We're covering so many different subjects. We're a while in.
Oh, yeah, we're jumping.
But we're jumping all around. It's good.
Whatever.
We're going. This is the way it's supposed to be.
I think this is the way we're going to do it until we actually get good at doing it, at least.
You tell me when to quit.
Until our listeners, finally just,
You tell me when to quit. Like I said, I'm going to grab another beer.
I'd say let's do one more beer cast, and then
that's a good idea.
And we'll wrap her up.
That's a good idea. Let me grab one. We need a subject for you to talk about while I disappear.
All right, you got a topic for me?
I don't know if I do. How about you rant? Can you rant?
I mean, I can rant pretty good.
No, you can't.
No, I'm pretty terrible at it, actually.
I don't have much.
I gotta have a topic.
I don't have one for you, man.
Well, hey, let's talk about. Here we are in Pitkin.
There you go.
We're at Pitkin State Fish Hatchery, actually, where I live. I'm a fish culturist. I'm a biologist here at Pitkin State Fish Hatchery. Cameron's coming up to visit for the night, and we decided we'd do a podcast. So it's a pretty cool spot up here. We're just over 9,000 feet. It's still clearly winter up here. We got God knows how many feet of snow this year. I lost count at 1 million. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a cool spot. It's awesome that Cameron gets to come up and check it out. But I'm just ranting for no reason. We should.
I timed it today. It only takes me 20 minutes from my house.
Did you take 44?
Yeah. Yeah. Only takes me 20 minutes from my house to get here. That's not bad.
How many miles?
I'm gonna do that on the way back.
Yeah, you haven't clocked it yet. I won't tell you because I know exactly.
44 is 5, right?
It's more than 5. I think it's 7.
I think it's 5.
No,
I think it's 5.
it's a slow 5.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll clock it and I'll let everybody know. I'll let you know. Actually, nobody else cares.
Yeah, I don't even know. We were talking about Pitkin.
No, you're just talking about the hatchery up here and what you guys do. And
Yeah, I covered nothing, and I didn't say anything about.
No,
what
I
we
mean
do.
you guys cover a wide variety of species that most people don't know about. You guys have tiger trout. You guys do a lot of cutthroat work. You guys do tons of rainbow work. I
Yeah.
mean, and the Pitkin hatchery stays open. Surprisingly, where it's located, it stays open all year round.
Man. My first winter up here, winter's hard up here.
Yeah.
I realize I'm less of a biologist and more of a front end loader runner.
You're more of a snowplower.
I've gotten good at running a plow. I've gotten good at running the front end loader. Almost rolled one today.
Ooh.
Man, the conditions are just so foul right now. Now it's like muddy, slushy, corny.
But what you do up here is like, I mean, you guys stock almost, I mean, it's not random, but you guys have a lot of areas that you stock with certain trout that not many people would think about that this small hatchery does.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't have to talk about all where, but
area-wise, we're pretty large. We're like 69 acres, I believe, which is a pretty big swath of land. We don't raise a ton of catchables. We do about 150 to 180,000 catchables a year usually. We cut back this year
what's
because of low flow.
catchable? What do you mean by
Oh,
catchable?
yeah, it's a good question, actually. A catchable trout is a 10-inch rainbow.
Okay.
For us, we stock rainbow trout. A catchable trout is also known as a stalker. That's a 10-inch fish.
10-inch. Okay.
2.5 fish per pound is basically what a 10-inch fish is. But so we do roughly 150,000 catchables a year, but we also do another 750,000 salmon from the Judy. We stock those around Blue Mesa, Lake Fork area, Cimarron. We also have splake. I think we have 30,000 splake this year that we're going to stock around Colorado,
Wow.
which is pretty cool.
That is really cool.
Off years we do tiger trout, which is pretty cool.
You guys have stocked some trophy tigers.
I think we've stocked at least 30 state records.
There's one state record
Yep.
right now.
Yep. Thank you, Anthony. Well
We
done.
already talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kudos to you. I haven't caught one. I know where they all are.
Right.
We do numerous different subspecies of rainbows. We do Hope for Harrison's, which is kind of the common one to the area. We do PRRs, which is Psychrophyllum resistant, which they're cold water resistant rainbows. They do well in captivity. I mean, we do a little bit of everything. It's cool at this hatchery because we have so many different subspecies of rainbows and so many different species like tiger trouts and splake and salmon. So we get to see a little bit of everything up here. So it's pretty cool.
No, it's awesome.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people that down on hatcheries. We are not the Pacific Northwest. We're not putting Atlantic salmon into the Pacific. We're different. We're a different hatchery. We put fish so people can catch. The fishing industry in Colorado is somewhere around $3 billion a year, more or less, which is super significant.
It's unreal.
Yeah, I mean it's
Buy your fishing license.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty crazy, and I think that equates.
Fishing license support your job.
Absolutely. So buy a fishing license. Don't poach fish. We don't just put fish in. There's research that goes into it.
We're preaching again.
Yeah, exactly. Buy a fishing license. You pay for my job. You pay for my way of life. And in turn, we take care of our rivers in Colorado, and we do a way better job than most states. You look at the Pacific Northwest, these rivers are unmanaged. They're finally becoming managed, and you can see how poor fisheries they can be. I mean, we're talking fisheries that just literally have no fish in them, but ocean run rainbows and no residential fish. I mean, these are rivers that are just absolutely gorgeous and void of fish because of poor management. So it's really important. And that's why Colorado is up there with the meccas. We're up there with, Montana, with Wyoming. We are fishing meccas because of how we manage our resource. So anyways, that's all I really have to say about that. But yeah.
Well, no, it's sweet. We get to come up here and record literally at the hatchery. I mean, you're living on the hatchery, and we get to come up here.
Yeah, did you sterilize your tires before you cross that cattle?
No. Never, man.
How many river crossings have you done?
A lot. I brought all the invasive species in. No, it's we're pretty lucky we get to be able to do this, and we are PFOs, and
Straight up.
we get to do a lot of cool shit. And like I said, we're literally recording right at the hatchery tonight, and
Pretty sweet.
yeah, no, it's sweet, and it's, I mean, I don't know, other people think it's cool, but you know, it's good. And we talked about a lot of stuff tonight. We're working on 2 hours and 40 minutes right now, which I didn't think we talked for that long. It didn't seem like that long.
How many beers?
I don't think we need to talk about how many beers we drank.
It only looks like
Not
4.
that much.
It only looks like 3.
Yeah, we drank 3 beers.
Damn, we kept it decent. How many F words? I think 1.
1. I said 1 F word.
Yeah, you need to get it together.
Yeah, I need to lock it up.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking idiot. There you go.
You beat me to it.
There you go, folks. There's another one.
But
But,
upper decker makes you drop those.
Yeah, the
F-bombs.
upper decker really does it. The worm dirt upper decker.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. But yeah, we'll wrap it up here. Yeah. Email us. Send us everything you can. theguidedtrip@gmail.com. It's pretty simple. theguidedtrip@gmail.com. We'll do another little promo for Get Adrift Outdoors pro bands. Go check them out. They're badass. Again, we're not getting paid to do this. We just love the product. Even with the promo code, we're not getting paid. But it's the Guided Trip Pod as a promo for 35% off. They're going to run it for a little while. Go get yourself some pro bands. They're super badass. They will make your fishing so much easier.
We just dig them so much that we like beg them to let us rep them, basically.
We don't have ads. We really haven't run ads, and we don't get paid for ads, and we're saying it because we want to say it for the most part. And we're just getting by the way we get by, and we're just trying to put out good info for people and just get entertainment.
Yeah. And, you know, as Cameron was saying, please, send us emails. Otherwise, we're just going to continue getting drunk and rambling on until you guys give us good topics, because everything's kind of been tapped.
We're working on, you know, we keep saying it, but we are working on people being on the podcast and getting them here. And it is a struggle trying to get everybody's schedules lined up. But
you know, I'm not afraid. I'll go and quickly name drop a few people. We do have some upcoming people that are pretty excited to get on us. We're talking about getting with a local fishing guide, hunting guide, Louis from AEI. He's going to come on. I think we're going to do a little podcast talking about high mountain lake fishing tactics. That's coming up. So the season's going to be pretty prime pretty soon. So that'll be a really good podcast. He's a really knowledgeable high mountain lake fisherman. We're talking about getting a fellow peer of mine on. Her name's Christy Miller. She's a local here, works in the hatchery system. She's an old guide from Alaska, used to run the San Juan River a bunch too. So we're going to get her on and hopefully get some good content out of her. Awesome characters. So she'll definitely be worth listening to. So we have some good stuff coming up.
We're working, and, you know, this, as we've said before, this is not our day job. You know, this is a side gig for us, and we're trying to put out as much content as we possibly can, but it is tough for us to get together with our jobs in general and just get everybody listening and keep everybody entertained. So for a while, it might be Ryan and us till we get everything dialed up. And we appreciate you guys listening. Again, email anything you possibly can, any tips, anything you guys got. theguidedtrip@gmail.com. Pretty easy. Follow us, Instagram. You got PFO Life over here. That's Ryan McVeigh. Me, Cameron Rhodes, or The Guided Trip. Follow us. It's fun hearing from everybody and just the feedback that we get from the podcast. It's been a blast every time we do it. We love it.
You know it. Thanks for listening, guys.